What's up, everybody? Good evening and welcome to CrowCast episode 38. Here we are again, another Tuesday, 9 o'clock. You're all with us, Crow family. What an episode we got for you tonight. Ronnie can barely contain himself.
Well, let's address the elephant in the room. Yes, I am a massive wrestling fan, so it's an honor to have Mark Andrews on. We've had some great guests over the last 38 weeks, mate. From directors to rock stars. So it's really cool to have something that is a passion for me as well. I might not be a wrestler, but I've watched this since I was a kid. And it's something that I really, really, really enjoy and invest a lot of money in. So
yeah, man. But again, he's a musician as well. So there's lots to talk about tonight. Mark will be joining us in about, 15 minutes, Ron?
Yeah.
Obviously, after that, the Crows will be joining us for the usual shenanigans. We got another mystery box, which I can't wait for. And I'm on the alcohol tonight. Are you? Or
oh, lovely. I might have to. I can sort that one out definitely. I'm loving the it's the Merlin, dude. I've kind of been. Yeah. It's a creeper as well. See, it's very merry. It's really cozy here as well. So a nice glass of Merlin is a bit dangerous at this time of the year. So I have ordered a keg. So I'm a bit excited about it. I think I told you that the other day. That's being imported. So I've got a bit of Skoll. Is that what we call it? No. Kolsch.
Oh, German, yeah. Kolsch.
Yes.
Yes.
So I've ordered a 5-litre keg of that. And then obviously there's been a lot of talk in our camp about like craft beers and stuff. So I'm going to kind of go down that rabbit hole and try a few. Like I said on previous episodes, a lot of them, they just don't do it for me. Like, it's that whole farmer's field or just too hoppy and stuff like that. So it's kind of a mission maybe over Christmas to find a nice ale. That kind of sits right besides obviously the traditional Guinness that myself and you like to indulge in, like,
Yeah, it's probably going to be the first Christmas where we haven't, or the New Year, that we haven't gone out in it and sort of, we set our record, see, everybody, how many Guinness can you do in a night? I think we got to 7, did we, before we changed
8.
the drink? 8, was it?
8, my friend, yes.
And then he was like, do you know what? Let's not ruin the night. Let's change the drink, because we were heavy when we... It was a bit heavy, like, but we do.
Yeah, and let's be honest. When you get to 7 or 8 pints of Guinness, it's not good anyway. That kind of ruins your night because you feel like you've had all your bad food. It's like finishing a gig, innit? And the only place open is the worst food in the world, like, So you either have a kebab or you go to a service station and have something really overpriced, which is crap anyway. So
it's like an 8-course meal.
Yeah, at least with Guinness, if you have a few of them on a session, you're kind of sorted for 2 days, really. And as my mum used to say, there's a lot of iron in Guinness as well, so it's good for you.
There we are. It's like Doc Cotton, isn't it? Doc Cotton would say, haven't she? EastEnders, I'll have a sherry, it's medicinal and all that, whatever it was. But hey, what's up, everybody? There's a lot of people watching. We got Debbie Corey, David Graham, Julie Kay, Lynn Parry, Jonathan Wintle, the usual suspects. Thank you so much for joining us. We got a few birthdays today, quite a few actually. So let's head on over to do that. So who's this year? Annie Joyce has got in touch. Hey, lovely humans. Annie, she's the best. Please, can you give a birthday shout out to Jill Watcham on CrowCast Tuesday, please? It's her birthday on the 6th of the 12th, 2020. So it's 2 days ago, was it? And we would have been at Rockstock for your set. I know, Rockstock. Oh, man.
Yeah.
Seeing all the videos of last year was just like, I couldn't believe how much weight I lost, to be quite honest. But I'll put on, I should say. But sorry, I've diverted there. Jill, happy birthday, lovely. Hope you had a good day. Lynette and Emma, hi guys. Any chance of a birthday shout out for my mate Donna Griffiths? She's such a fab friend, kind and considerate, and Crow's #1 fan. She'll be made up if she gets a mention. Happy birthday, Donna.
Happy birthday, Donna.
Are you on it, Donna? Are you on it?
You on it?
I'm on it. And we mentioned Annie Joyce. It's her birthday today. the wonderful Annie Joyce. I love watching her videos, her gymnastics, her balance, her gym classes. We've seen her on. She's always sporting the crow's vest, or she had a crow's hat on. Happy birthday, lovely. There's a few birthdays today. So we got Ian Pickens. How about Ian Pickens?
Hey.
Happy birthday, brother. I wish I was sharing a Jaeger with you.
Yeah. Oh, man, yeah. He's 50 today, isn't he?
Oof, is he?
I do believe so. And that's not a joke. I know we normally add a few years, but, you know, he's a rough...
I know I just didn't want to say.
Aye, I will.
Hope you've had a good day, bud. Des Robertson, it's also your birthday today. Happy birthday, Des. There's Keith Miller. Happy birthday, Keith. Jessica Diana, happy birthday, lovely today. Hannah Lunn, also her birthday today. And we got some shout outs. Who's this from? Claire. Hi, Shane. Will it be okay to give Donna Lennox a shout out tonight and send her my love and massive hugs, as she's been in my thoughts all day today? I want to thank her for all she's done for me and getting me through the bad times. Claire, we love Donna to bits. Such a wonderful, supportive, loving, caring woman. That's a lovely thing to do, Claire. We're all thinking of you, Donna.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
And I think that's it for the time being, bud.
Very cool. Very
if you
cool.
want to shout out anybody, drop us a message and we can do that for you later on in the show.
Awesome. Awesome. How was your week, buddy?
Not bad. Not bad. I had a very, I'm not supposed to mention it, but someone sent me a very nice bottle of something.
Oh, lovely.
And they said not to mention, but it was a bottle of Gentleman's Jack.
Oh, yes.
I haven't had one of them in a while. It's too expensive, to be honest. But
premium.
Yeah, smooth that is.
Yeah, very, very, very. And they do the single barrel and stuff as well, don't they?
Yes. Yes.
Well, between me and you, a lot of people are buying Jim Beam Red Stag because that's thanks to Bob, and then obviously you were endorsing it on you. And then after my the cheese last week, a lot of people are going out and buying that. So I definitely think Asda and Jack Daniels should be sorting us out, like, you know.
Absolutely.
Sales have definitely rocketed, like.
Yeah. Yeah. All we need is the green polo shirt. Is it Asda was green polo shirt? It is Asda, isn't it?
I think so. Bright green, isn't it? Bright green.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. On that note, hey, should we have a guest?
Ladies and gentlemen, I know Ronnie's nervous but excited all at the same time. A wonderful guest. Please give it up for the awesome Mark Andrews.
How's it going, lads?
How you doing, Mark?
Yeah, good, thank you. Yeah, how are you guys?
Not bad at all, bud. Hey, is there any chance you could turn your microphone up a little?
Let me try.
That's
just a tad.
Tad quiet, is it?
A little bit. Not too bad.
How's this? Any better now, or?
Yeah, that's cool.
Much better. Much better.
I'll have to just speak really, really loud. Just
your best promo now, Mark.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, get the microphone out.
How are you keeping, Mark? Are you all right?
Yeah, not bad. Yeah, doing well actually. I just finished watching the second Avengers movie with my missus, and now I'm chatting to you lads. So having a good evening. How about you guys?
Yeah, not bad. Strange times. Are you in Cardiff as well at the moment, or are you up country, or are you?
Yeah, back in Cardiff. Well, I live in Cardiff, but I haven't been traveling abroad at all this year since January. So yeah, just it's been quite nice actually. To with how crazy the year's been, it's also been quite nice to spend a lot of time kind of chilling, just like relaxing and having a bit of downtime.
Yeah, because when obviously COVID hit, so you were on tour with Junior at that point, was it? You weren't even were you still doing the wrestling with NXT UK or?
So I think, well, it was back in February, right? So I had a really hectic January. I had a January which was I spent Christmas last year in Orlando on like a family holiday, which was well, lucky now looking back. And then I literally landed in the UK, drove straight to TakeOver up in Blackpool, did a big ladder match at TakeOver, and then the next day flew back to Orlando to do some NXT tapings. So the start of the year was absolutely hectic. It was crazy. And then about late February, in a big match in London, I actually injured my knee. And right after that is when COVID hit. So it was funny enough, I kind of like linked up an injury whilst the rest of the world got put on pause, which is kind of a weird silver lining, you know? It was,
if you're going to get injured,
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel bad saying that because, you know, I didn't want the rest of the world to be injured as well. But I was like, oh, if you ever got to get hurt, you know, now was a good time.
Yeah, absolutely. So when you do go away, bud, with like the wrestling and stuff, do you take a team? How many people go with you? Is it just you and a few like your trainers, or?
Well, it all depends, really. I mean, like for years, you know, when you're wrestling on the indies and stuff, it's just you and whoever else you know who's on the show, really. But like these days, because we do tapings up in London at the moment, there'll be a crew of like, let's say 40 wrestlers and staff up there. So we all kind of travel from around the country and meet in one place. But for example, when you go out to the States still, these days it just tends to be me and Flash Morgan Webster, my partner, because doing a lot of tag team wrestling at the moment. And then, you know, because you've met so many people over the years, the crew that you meet in various places, wherever the filming's happening, they tend to be people that you know. You know, it's rare to go to a show these days where there's kind of nobody that I know. But yeah, in terms of the traveling, sometimes it's alone. You know, hopefully it's with friends because it makes it a bit more enjoyable.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, a lot of the wrestlers in America, they tend to have driving partners, don't they? So they, you know, it's kind of like being in a band. I've tried to explain that to people who don't watch wrestling or they don't, you know, they don't follow it. And I said, listening to the podcasts and watching the documentaries is very similar. It's the late lifestyle of maybe leaving the venue and traveling to the next one, or trying to get to the next taping or the live shows, etc. That must be so intense on the body, especially trying to keep yourself in shape. I mean, we haven't had enough time, as you know, we'll get into with you on the road, when you're trying to eat right and you're finishing late if you're headlining, and then, like I said earlier, the only thing open is a kebab shop or a service station, like, you know. So is that what a lot of the guys still do even these days, is like hit the road and kind of travel in the cars? Or
yeah, it's funny because I guess well, for most of my career it was all indie wrestling, and most of those shows are kind of just on the weekends. And I remember this is before I played in the band, I was always envious of how bands toured, because I was like, oh, they get to do like a, you know, 30-day tour in the van, and you know, it's great doing it Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but then you spend, you know, 4 or 5 days off until the next weekend. But I guess when you look at, like, you know, your main roster, like your SmackDowns and your Raws, and when they come over here to the UK, they'll do the full, you know, 10-15 days in a big tour van, going from hotel to hotel. And my experience doing those in the past has been super fun. And that's been much more like a band environment. However, I will say the standards are a bit nicer when it's with the main roster of WWE. There's literally been times where I've gone back to back from a junior tour, sleeping on floors, to a WWE tour, having nice hotel rooms. And I'm like, oh, one day Junior will get here. So yeah, it's definitely, it's fun though, being, as you said, like the kind of the late night drives and the, you know, finding food where you can, and kind of, well, as you said, like for wrestlers especially, trying to find somewhere to work out as well, you know.
Yeah.
But pro wrestlers always have like a hotel workout in their back pocket just in case there's no gyms nearby. But it's crazy to think that, you know, this year everything's just kind of been put on hold, because up until now, I spent the last maybe 7 years of my life, if I'm not on tour with wrestling or wrestling most weekends, then I'm on tour with the band. So it's crazy this year. I've been like, oh, I've hardly been traveling up, and, you know, I've seen fewer service stations this year than ever before.
Yeah, same as us. Yeah,
it's wild, isn't it? You start to miss it. You start to miss that machine Costa that you get you know, on the way to different shows.
But I've listened to a few, and they're kind of, I don't want to say relieved in a way, but you put your body through so much. Especially when you're on the road wrestling. And then obviously if you're doing what you were as well, and you were flicking between the band and wrestling, you're not giving yourself enough time to repair. Like, so that must be solid, especially like when you said the main roster, they've got live shows and their schedules are non-stop. If you pick up a small niggle, people don't realize you're having to perform through that and kind of work through it, basically. Like, do you know what I mean? Whether it's a bad back, or have you ever had that where you've had like strains on the back and stuff and you still had to work? And
oh yeah, I mean, that's that's kind of just the job, really. I guess, you know, it's crazy how you end up differentiating what is a real injury and what is just like a little niggle, you know. But this year, as you said, like, I think it's the first time in forever for a lot of us, or at least, you know, since we started wrestling, that we've actually had time to kind of rest those little niggling injuries that you just never really get. It's not big enough to get sorted, but it's like, you know, a sore elbow or a sore hand or something like that. And it's the first time where, well, it was only a few months ago that we started back taping for NXT UK up in London, and that we had a training week leading into it, right? So we could all kind of, you know, shake off the ring rust and get prepared. And it was so funny. After the first day of training, everyone was like, "Oh, I'm not used to that." Like, we've had a nice rest for a few months now, so I'm not ready to start bumping again that fast. So it took a few days to get back into the swing of things and kind of, you know, callous your body back into the wrestling way.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So how often do you sort of work out a week?
Well, it's funnily enough, actually, that's something else which lockdown's been good for, is getting into a better routine. Because as I said, that training week, when we all kind of got back to it, everyone was looking in the best shape of their lives. Like, even though gyms had been closed for however long in different areas of the country and stuff, but everyone just had time to like really focus on your gym routine and your diet and things that, as you said, when you're on the road, tend to be quite hard. Like, you can't exactly eat the right meals when you're traveling from show to show, and even when you're you know, wrestling, as I said, just on the weekend, the Friday, Saturday, Sunday, that's still almost half the week, and it tends to take up a lot of kind of, you know, you skip a workout here or there, or you're beaten up, so your workout isn't as good. So these days, throughout lockdown, to answer your question, I've been working out more than ever. Although now that it's getting closer to Christmas, I'm definitely reining it in and drinking more beer and working out less, and the diet's going to crap a little bit.
That's basically where me and Ronnie have been for the past 8-9 months.
Hey, well, not a bad way.
You said it's the first time, like, ever that you really get to spend time with your family. You get to, like, you know, we've dabbled in cooking or different drinks even, like, you know, well, Shane's been through, I think, the whole top shelf at the moment, like, do you know what I mean? But it's just finding a time where we've been relaxed and learning, I don't know, just learning new things as well, having that time and the space and the mindset of how to put it right. Because, like, we know, like, after Christmas and we've had that break, I don't know if you've got the same mentality. We know what we've got to do and what we've got to achieve. So it's kind of like we can start getting back into that more solid routine of, like you said, working out every day, or just getting match fit more than anything for playing or performing, like, you know. So
yeah, it's wild what you're saying about, you know, kind of finding new things in lockdown, because that has been, I mean, don't get me wrong, you know, I'll be the first to say this year has been a terrible one, you know, as a whole, but there has definitely been some silver linings coming out of it. I know that, I mean, I've outside of wrestling and music, I've always been like a passionate video editor, for example. And over the years, just as things have gotten more busy, I haven't been able to do it so much. Whereas over lockdown, because I haven't been able to wrestle and haven't been able to play shows, I've, like, you know, dived back into video editing and kind of filming more stuff and investing into cameras and stuff like that. And even like with songwriting, I'm sure you guys have found it. It's like you've probably written 10 albums in the last year, right? Because it's just, you have the time to do it now. You know, there's no time to play shows, so you start writing more music. And it has been like a weirdly productive time. I guess it's making the good out of a bad situation, not making the bad out of a good situation. It's you know, it's trying to stay productive whilst you can't stick to your normal routine. So there's definitely been some nice things coming out of this year, which is good. And as you said, like, going into next year now, when things might be more back to normal, it almost feels like, okay, we've had a nice year to focus on different things, you know, like have a good gym routine for a while, for example, for me, and write more songs, which is something that I've been lacking for the last few years, if I'm honest. I always left that to Matt, the more talented member of the bands.
So what is your routine, dude? Is it like an early morning gym session, or is it do you kind of change it up throughout the week, or?
I tend to change it up. I'll be honest though, it's never an early morning session ever. It's always holding off till the afternoon. I'm just gonna be
proper
honest,
musician. No, I love that. It's a proper muso, that is.
Yeah. I mean, like, so my girlfriend is currently finishing off her masters, right? So some mornings we'll wake up and you know, neither of us have to be. You know, when you've got somewhere to go, like when we're training up in London, I mean, we've got to be there for like 9 a.m. So right, get up, get ready, go work out. when I'm at home lying in bed, man, I'll sleep in, I'll have a late breakfast, I'll drink coffee for the first few hours of the day. I'm not going to pretend that I'm, working any harder than I am at home. But no, my routine is, I try and work out 4 to 5 times a week. And normally that would include in-ring training as well. So let's say it was, 4 or 5 like workouts with them, at least 1 in-ring session. But this year has obviously been a lot harder to do in-ring training. But I'm fortunate that I've kind of got a few weights here and I've managed to set up a little kind of home gym. And even now gyms are open, I still tend to use it just because, well, again, out of comfort, out of not being asked to go to the gym. So, it's upstairs in my spare room, easier to walk upstairs. So I try and, work out 4 to 5 times a week and just hit, like 2 upper body sessions, 2 lower body sessions, and then a kind of a rough cardio session as well. Yeah. But as I said, the closer to Christmas, that's going more down to 3 sessions a week. And then as soon as Christmas finishes, I'll be back on it.
Yeah. Does your routine obviously change if you've got like a big fight coming up and, obviously you got to be your best. It's like anything, I guess. I mean, we'd be the same. Practice extra hard if it was a big one. But like, does that pressure come then, or are you in the back of your mind where you could tweak something and almost injure yourself? So do you lay off a bit? How do you think about that before a match?
So for a lot of the UK guys who, the ones who are with NXT UK, we always tend to have a week or 2 training up at the PC up in London before our events. And luckily we've got like some world-class coaches up there who they kind of structure our workouts for us when we're up there. Oh, right. And they'll always do what we call like a deload week, which is it's intentionally not absolutely going balls to the walls because it's essentially what they call like a game day. It's game week. They know that you're performing that weekend, so no point in knackering yourself completely and no point in risking injury, just to kind of get a good pump and to feel confident going into the weekend. So that's always really good and that helps tons. But I do think maybe before that last week before for a match, I'm about to say before a competition, which is far too official for pro wrestling, but before before a match, I do tend to try and, if it's a big event, put on some weight or cut down, whatever I'm looking to do, and try and just get in the ring a bit more. More as just a kind of, I guess, a confidence thing, to get that kind of, that mindset of knowing that you'll be all right in the ring and you're less likely to screw up. And as you guys said, just like with, with the band, how you practice more leading up to a tour.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, there's a lot of people watching this who I've followed it at some point, but they don't maybe get into it the same as myself and a lot of your other mates in the music industry as well. Like we follow it like fuck, like. But it's the case of they don't realize the strength you have to have or the trust you have to have in your partner. Like, do you know what I mean? That's what I always found fascinating when I came out of the whole like Attitude era and you start looking at the documentaries as you get a bit older. You realize what you guys do and the prep work you do and like what you put yourselves through. Like, do you know what I mean? It's incredible. And the trust you have with your, like, I know they call it a dance partner, but it's just incredible of how you perform the moves or the big guy with the smaller guy and how it works, like, with that trust element of entertaining us, but not fucking yourselves up, like, do you know what I mean? That's the bottom line, like, because it's incredible. I was showing Shane, I got this picture by you now, and I was showing him this off air, and he was like, whoa, look at that, like.
Look at that. That's insane, bro.
And that was my lazier one of the two. There's that. Sometimes I try and go for a full twist, but I've screwed it up a few times, and sometimes I just go for the half twist.
Well, that's what I was going to say, dude. I mean, throwing your body into shapes like that, like how many times have you injured yourself, like when you've done something that's sort of out there?
Well, like as I said before, there's kind of, I guess, a big difference in wrestling between injuries and just kind of like little bumps, So like over the years, I've had, what feels like hundreds or thousands of just little bumps here or there, bruises or some swelling here or there. But in terms of actual injuries, maybe just a handful, like the biggest one I've had has been this year where I tore my PCL, which is in my knee. And that's been the biggest I've had. That's taken me out for essentially the entire time of lockdown, which has been like 7 or 8 months. But before that, I mean, I've had stitches on my shoulder once before. But even that was kind of a freak accident. I just managed to catch an area of the ring, which was unpadded and it kind of, needed a few stitches. And then I'm trying to think what else really. I did have like a neck injury years ago, but it wasn't anything too serious. It was just bruising, so only meant taking off like a few months from wrestling. So I've been really fortunate. Touch wood, touching the floor.
Well, it's just obviously doing it as long as you have done. The technique is all right. The timing is all right. You're expert at what you do, because dude, I'm on stage and people I jump off stage, or I jump off like a little box and I broke my ankle, like a little box, like I'm talking like that big.
Yeah.
So you throwing yourself in those shapes, I need to take some lessons from you, dude, because I'm that's incredible. Like the G-force on that end, that's incredible.
Do you know what though? It's always the little things. It's always the little things that injure you. It's never the big stunts, because I'm convinced that the big stunts, we train ourselves to focus more, and then I'll end up hurting myself for like climbing out the ring and hopping off and being like, oh, that's where I got.
Let me get this straight. You're telling me to up my game, and I've got to up the ante, bigger jumps, and I'll be fine. Okay.
If you backflipped it off the little stand, you wouldn't have got hurt.
You want to go.
I love that, because like I said, I've followed wrestling since I was a kid. Obviously a WWE man, that's what we had in the house. And then the WCW, obviously I could I think I used to put the TV on late, and I didn't even know what the difference was between WWE and WWF. It would have been back then. So I knew like Sting and Ric Flair were in one. And then obviously my favorites were like Hulk Hogan and stuff, the more characters. And then it wasn't until a few years ago, good friends of mine said, you should come to an indie show. And I was like, oh, I'm a bit of a mark for WWE. I don't know about the indie stuff. And they brought me down to Cardiff.
Oh, no way. What show was that?
That would have been just after, I think Pete had just debuted on Raw.
Cool.
So I think he appeared there that night. Nobody was expecting him to kind of show up. But yeah, it was really, really cool. And like, that was it. I was sold. And then since then, obviously I've kind of gone, so I'm a late comer to like the indie side of it. And then obviously now with Ryan, he's put me onto like New Japan, and then I've gone down that whole tunnel. I mean, I used to watch TNA, but yet again, it was when the roster was kind of packed back in the day. And then I found out that you were one of the owners of Pro Attack Wrestling in Cardiff, which I didn't, like I said, ignorant of me. I didn't know that because I was so caught in the, as they say, the commercial side of it, but how did that happen?
So Attack, years ago, like I'm trying to think how long we've been wrestling, but me and Pete, we met each other, when he was 13 and I was 15. So, we've essentially known each other for more of our lives than we haven't, I think, like essentially childhood friends. But we met through wrestling. And then a few years in, because we were both so young, we realized that we couldn't really get on a lot of shows because you didn't really want to book like a 15-year-old kid against a 25-year-old man, So we struggled to get on shows. So we did a little bit of, originally I bought a 10-foot boxing ring when I was a kid. I found it on eBay for 100 quid. And I nagged my dad to like drive me up to Manchester to pick it up, and we somehow crammed it into his camper van at the time, and we brought it back. So me and Pete used to set up that ring with a few more of our mates when we were about 16, 17, and we just essentially do like backyard wrestling shows. We were trained, but there was no crowd. It was just like we'd film it for kind of footage to put online and stuff. And then over the years, that slowly kind of turned into what is Attack Pro Wrestling. It was Pete and the ring announcer, Jim Lee, who decided to try and make this something real. And they started running shows up in Birmingham. But the shows up in Birmingham, they didn't tend to draw a very big crowd. It was like, less than 50 people, kind of like a few kids. Not really that like teenager and adult crowd that we were hoping for. Because we watched a lot of American indie wrestling, like your Ring of Honor, your PWG. And we saw these crazy punk rock-esque wrestling shows, people going crazy, drinking beer, having the best time. That's ideally what we wanted. Because at this point, I was in like second year of uni. So I was like, we need to be the cool wrestlers, We don't want to be performing in front of the kids. And so we essentially booked out at Catay's Community Centre, which was right next to my old house when I was in uni. And the first show we did there was it was 80 people, which to us was like the dream. That was the big sellout. Like it's a full one tonight, And it was essentially half of them were my mates from uni, half of them were Eddie Dennis's mates from uni in Swansea who travelled down. And it was like a big deal. You know, everyone was drinking. It was bring your own booze. It was crazy atmosphere. And we kind of just started building on that, really. And then kind of before we knew it, within a year or two, it wasn't just our friends in the crowd. It was actually a really organic crowd, people who liked wrestling, who came there for a night out and had the best time ever. And it's crazy to think that something quite special came out of us just wanting to have a scene. You know, we just wanted to have a scene, and then we tried hard, and it ended up becoming that, which I'm kind of really proud of now. So yeah, it's wild. It's really crazy. But I still think it was only yesterday that we were trying to get 80 people in, you know, just out of our mates. So when I suddenly think like, oh, that was like 7 years ago, I'm like, oh, that seems crazy, you know, how much it's developed since then.
Yeah, to put it into context, Shane, it was like, you remember when we were kids and like there was wrestling in the Rec or Puthco Pavilion and stuff, and there'd be some dude coming out like dressed as the Undertaker or Kane or something, and it was very much like, and it's no disrespect because you know what I'm saying, it was more like the character form of wrestling. Oh, he's behind you, and it'd be very pantomime. Where I kind of thought, oh, I'm going to Cardiff, I'll enjoy it. It's going to be very pantomime. But it was what you said, Mark. There was people there. They brought their own beers. So you take your own like bags of beer and stuff. It was not rude, so you could still take your kids, but it was a lot more in your face. And the vibe was exactly how you just said it then. Very punk rock wrestling. Like I think I was like sitting 4 or 5 rows back, and somebody crashed over the top rope, and then they come into the first 2 rows, and the chairs go everywhere. And then the first thing they do is stand up and go, yeah, what's your problem? And then they're back in the, it was like, oh, you feel part of the show. Like, so incredible concept and a brilliant night out, like absolutely brilliant.
I love the fact that you talking about that, where you kind of created the scene, you know, you wanted it and you went out there and did it.
Yeah.
And then the buzz came. Like, we're all about that, man. It's creating almost your own sort of future, your own path. Like, if it's not there, go and do something about it. And I love that, dude. I love that.
It's funny actually, because mine and Pete's and Eddie's, and we were 3 like the kind of guys helping run the show. Well, me and Pete, and then Eddie did a lot of help as well. But we were all just kind of like pop punk kids, really. And we just, you know, travel around the UK to go to shows and go to Slam Dunk and stuff like that. And our inspiration for a lot of it was that a lot of wrestling isn't seen as cool, but like punk music is the coolest thing ever. So we almost wanted, we were so desperate back then for the wrestling scene to be like the punk rock scene. Like we wanted cool merchandise, you know, like cool merchandise that was also fashionable. It wasn't just like real, you know, like old wrestling shirts which have kind of a generic skull and Comic Sans over the top, that kind of thing. And then funnily enough, because I got into the bands after, you know, years later after I stopped wrestling, after I started wrestling, suddenly I was realizing it was the other way around, and I was like, now I want the music scene to be like the wrestling scene, because it's almost like we'd missed the boat, you know, like when we started playing pop punk, we just missed the kind of, I guess what I thought was the boom period a few years before, and suddenly I was trying to drag all the wrestling fans to the gigs. So it's crazy. It's sod's law, you know. You're always trying to chase the other one, it seems like.
So wrestling came first then?
Yeah, so I was wrestling. Well, I started playing music around a similar time, like when I was about 12, 13 years old. But then I committed to wrestling, and I mean, I had my first match when I was, I think it was 13 or 14, and I didn't, junior didn't start until I finished uni, so maybe 22, 23. So it was, almost 10 years later.
Wow. So do you find it difficult, like, to, I suppose wrestling, would that take precedent if like a gig came up, or and it interfered with your routine with wrestling? Is wrestling priority?
So yeah, I mean, up until now, that has been the case, and I've got some funny stories about that, because you know what, hats off to Matt and Cy, the other guys in the band. They have put up with a lot of crap over the years. Like we debuted on Raw. Like, when was it? It was 2019. So yeah, just over a year ago. And I only found out at midnight the night before, and it was like, I've just got off a train from Bath, so it was like a 6. I just remember, sorry, from Brighton. It was a 6-hour train back to Cardiff. I get off at midnight, and I get the text saying you're needed in Manchester tomorrow for Raw, but we have a gig in Bristol the next day. And I'm like, oh. So I'm calling Matt and I'm calling Cy, like, neither of them are answering because they're both asleep. So I call Sean, our manager, and I was like, man, I'm so sorry, I got to bail on the gig, because this is just like like a relative, you know, it's a good gig in Bristol, but it's not Raw.
It's Monday Night Raw, yeah.
And hats off to them. They last minute they put together an acoustic set without me, and they just went and did it. We didn't cancel. They just went and did it. I was like, oh, you know, thank you so much for doing that. And there's been times in the past where I've had to like do a show on the first day of tour and then skip out and fly out to LA to do 205 Live, miss the next 2 days of tour, and then fly back and meet them straight back on tour. Because I mean, the wrestling scene is very last minute. You know, it's a real. You never know what's going to happen. A lot of the biggest opportunities in wrestling can come, like as I said, within a day's notice. Wow. But my mindset on it has always been, it's not that I necessarily prioritize wrestling over the band. It's just that I prioritize the bigger opportunity, if that makes sense. So, you know, if I had a wrestling show and then suddenly, I don't know, Neck Deep said, hey, do you want to support us for a show? Or some massive band, you know, I'd be like, well, if that's the bigger one and I can manage to do it, then I you know, commit to that. But as I said, it's been great because Cy and Matt have always known that's the case. And I think that the wrestling helps the band in more ways than it hurts it, you know. So they're always super understanding of me having to bail on tours last minute.
Wow. What was that point that got you into wrestling then? Was it something on TV? Was it magazines? Was it what kind of turned your head to wrestling?
So I have you as my older cousin. I think when I was about 8 years old, I went around my cousin's house and he was just watching Royal Rumble 2000, and it was like it was the tables match between Hardys and the Dudleys.
Yes,
and
man.
I'm pretty sure like the next time I went round, he was watching WrestleMania 2000, you know, a few months after, and it was the big crazy TLC match there, the big three-way ladder match. And I mean, when you're 8 years old and you're watching Jeff Hardy dive off ladders through tables, what's not to love? I mean, I'm 28 years old now, and what's not to love? It's the best, you know. So I think I was just hooked from then, and then you know, after that it was the wrestling toys, magazines, and I was consumed instantly. And I think because I found a wrestling school when I was like 13 years old, like just as I turned 13, I naturally just kind of went from mega fan, you know, at the peak of going through this stage of loving wrestling, to doing it. And the same thing, you know, and I'm still going through that phase. So yeah, who knows when it'll end.
I love that. And same with the music, like you said, you started around 13 with the music, but you didn't find Junior until you were in your 20s?
Yeah, my 20s, yeah. So I think what it was when I was younger, I felt like I had to commit to one or the other. And I kind of went balls to the walls with wrestling. And although I jammed a lot when I was younger, like in high school, I took music and music tech and stuff like that. And I did a lot of like, you know, jamming with my mates and stuff. I never committed to being in a band. And once I'd then got to uni and graduated from uni, I was like, I think I'm always going to regret it if I haven't played some real shows and I haven't released a real song with a real music video and gone on a real tour and, you know, ticked off that kind of bucket list stuff. But then by the time we were doing that stuff, like by the time we did our first tour, I was like, okay, I'm into this now. This isn't going to stop anytime soon, you know? So it's worked out really well. And it's cool that the two can accommodate each other. You know, as I said, there's been some really funny moments over the years between wrestling and music, like whether it's bailing on tours to go and wrestle, or it's Matt and Cy getting involved in the wrestling and getting in the ring and being a part of storylines and stuff like that.
That's amazing.
Each other well.
Don't give him ideas now, for God's sake.
Fucking hell, Shane, you need to step it up now, dude.
Do it, Ronnie. Do it.
Yes, you got to step
it in the van.
Exactly, man.
We've had many photos like up ladders and stuff, but not in the ring.
Yeah.
But, it's like, so what is your dream sort of match then in wrestling, and what's your dream sort of venue or festival or with music? What ticks your boxes, dude? Who's the main contender for you? Dream match.
I mean, a dream match would be, I mean, me, as I said, Pete Dunne is, me and him have traveled the world together and we've been mates since we were 13. And I also have some of my best matches with him. So I think if me and him could have a match at WrestleMania, or more importantly, if we could have a match at Millennium Stadium, any event at Millennium Stadium would be incredible, just for the hometown vibes.
Yeah.
And in terms of music, it's hard to know. I mean, I always thought Warped Tour would be like the top. But now that's kind of, I mean, they've like pretty much stopped, I guess, now, right? They're still doing a few dates, but it's not like it was.
Yeah.
I just love to do, your slam dunks and we got, got to do download a few years ago. I'd absolutely love to do download again. Just festivals in general, to tick some festivals off the list would be absolutely, a dream, because I mean, what's not to love? If I'm not performing at a festival, I want to be in the crowd. I want to be having a warm strongbow in the tent.
Have I got it right? You played download with Junior, and then you went and performed with NXT. Is that right?
Yeah. It was really cool. We set up the match after the gig.
That's I think I got. That's Pete Dunne. Yeah. Pete Dunne just about to attack you, just literally as you're finishing your set, is it?
I've seen that photo before, but I didn't realize that Pete was in the background.
That's awesome. I found it earlier and I was like, because I was speaking to Ryan about it, but yeah, he said obviously you did the performance, and then obviously you went on to wrestle afterwards then as well. So that's kind of like that's a double bucket list in one, isn't it? Like, you're doing your two passions across him, but at the same point, like, that
was definitely like a real high point in my life. To be, I'm not gonna pretend it was anything other than like one of the best days ever. It was it was a dream come true to play download in general. Then after that, to have Pete jump me, I flipped off the stage onto him and grabbed the mic and was like, "I'll see you at the NXT 10," and I was loving it. I was like, "This is the best." Awesome. And then we had a killer match later that night, and then I got to end the day just with my girlfriend and my mates watching Biffy Clyro, with a pint, and I was like, "Wow, this has really pieced it all together." So yeah, that was an amazing day. That was, like, for my career, for me personally, it's just best day ever that was. But then the next day, that's when I got that neck injury I was talking about. So it suddenly came crumbling down.
I can't imagine, like I'm knackered, right? I mean, obviously you're 10 times fitter than I'll ever be, but like coming off stage, absolutely knackered, to go and then wrestle, that's insane.
I definitely prefer doing it the other way around, I think.
Is it? Yeah.
Because there's been a few occasions now where like we've either played a gig at a wrestling show, or conveniently, actually, there was Attack Pro Wrestling, my company, had booked a show, and it just happened to be the same day as our London tour day, in the same venue. It was in the Boston Music Rooms and the Dome upstairs. And I was like, "Are you kidding me? Like, we're going to be playing next door." So I had a match and then ran down and quickly got my bass on, and we were on next and played. And I think I definitely prefer wrestling first and then playing. Because then the playing is almost like the reward. Like, you didn't get hurt, the match went okay. Now go piss around on stage with Junior.
I love that, man. That's incredible.
Yeah, and talking about like a double nighter as well. Obviously, a lot of us were there in Cardiff when you won the tag team championship, and it's not just that. You had your own song as the theme of the pay-per-view. Yet again, if anybody doesn't know what I'm talking about, NXT UK do pay-per-views called takeovers, and Wales were lucky enough to host one, which I think it was one of the best, to be honest, not being biased or anything. I think the crowd were absolutely insane. Yeah, well, Brooklyn was great. We'll give them that. Brooklyn was a class one, but NXT Wales was just like, wow, because I came straight home just to listen to the crowd as well. The action was phenomenal, but when you were in the crowd, it was just like a football game of 70,000 plus. Do you know what I mean? It was just so patriot and tribal, the way everybody was chanting, and it wasn't a good night to be a heel. So it was fucking, but yeah, you had Brick by Brick playing, and then you win the tag team championship. So yet again, that's like another double bucket list. It's like having your own track playing throughout the night, and then lifting the belt. That must be awesome. Yet again, two meeting at the same point, like,
Yeah, I mean, you can see me smiling as you're saying it back. I'm like, it actually happened. That's wild. Because I still think of that as like, oh, there it is. Yeah. Oh, do you know what's funny about that? Is that I had no idea that Matt and Si were right next to us.
Yeah.
Because I went to the wrong side, thinking, are they around here somewhere? And then I walked down and I was like, can't find them. And they were just right next to me. But yeah, it was, that was, again, a real pinch me moment where I was like, how does it top this? And still, I think that, you know, the download day was amazing, but this was that another step ahead of that. You know, it was. I think even now, it's the fact that it was in Wales. It's going to be so hard to ever top. You know, and that's the Millennium Stadium, me beating Brock Lesnar for the belt, then I don't know what's going to do it, really. You know?
Well, it's just the two passions. I mean, music's always been my drive since I left school, same as Shane. So we know how you feel. We've got to play Download now. We know that because so many years it's like the holy grail for certain people, and that was ours. Yet again, Warped Tour was on my list, bro, because I used to follow bands like 4 Years Strong. Like I was massive into the pop punk scene when it was happening in the early 2000s and stuff. And that's how I knew about the Warped Tour. And then obviously like your Funerals and Bullets were on there, so all the Welsh boys were traveling Blackout. And I was like, oh, cool. Fucking as soon as I get a band good enough, we're going to play the Warped Tour. And it's exactly like you said. Then it decreases. It's like, oh, no, that's come off the bucket list. But Download's always been on our radar. When me and Shane started with the Crows, it was one of the first conversations when it was like, oh, I'd be meant to play Download. So then to fast forward and you've done that, and then all of a sudden you're at the Motor Point in Cardiff. The place, I mean, literally, when they say about taking the roof off, the atmosphere was phenomenal. And your track is playing as the main theme. I mean, it was cool when I came home because it's obviously all over the network and everything. So it's like your band is playing all over that takeover show, and you're lifting the belt as well. Like that's a fucking dream come true right there. It's a proper moment, like, you know?
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. It was definitely like, I mean, I try not to say, I try and be as honest about it as possible because I never want to be that kind of that prick who's like, yeah, you know, just another night or whatever. In that moment, I was looking around like, what is happening? Is this real? You know, when am I gonna wake up? Because it was what, and then even afterwards, you know, we had the match, and obviously I'm like, oh my god, looking around like, oh, this is crazy. And then we get backstage, and it's like Triple H and Shawn Michaels and William Regal and Adrian Street, who's like the Welsh wrestling legend. They're all there, like shaking our hands and hugging us and stuff. Yeah, there's a photo of that. And I'm a little bit like, what the hell is going on? Like, as I said, it still feels like yesterday to me that we were, you know, going crazy that 80 people turned up to Cottage Community Centre. So the fact that then we were in like Motor Point Arena, which I'd spent all of my growing up going there to watch wrestling and to watch gigs. And then I'm like, oh, wow, like, this just happens, you know. It still blows my mind to this day, and I do hope that something can top it. Just because now I'm like, that's going to be hard to top.
Well, yeah, that's what I was just about to say. Like, so what's the goal now? What's the go to the next sort of threshold? You know.
Well, I guess there's still so many things that I want to tick off my list. Yeah, I'd like to do more out in America for NXT in Orlando. I've got like a kind of list in my head of like doing a WrestleMania, doing a Royal Rumble, having an action figure, for example, because that's going to be like the weirdest one. Where I'm like, whoa, you know. So there's things in my head that I really want to achieve. And to be honest, it's just, you know, we had those tag team championships for like, you know, a good maybe 2 months, but I'd love to get those back at some point in next year in 2021, and just to keep on pushing forward, because I've been doing this since I was 13 years old, and I'm 28 now. And no one knows how long a wrestler's career can last, but I'm eager to fill up the years with as much cool shit as possible, you know? So I'm just thinking any opportunity that we get, I just want to try and smash it and achieve as much as I can up until, I mean, at least maybe 40. If I can last until 40, I'll be happy, you know? And just, if I can get that action figure as well, an action figure in a WrestleMania, and I'll be sorted.
You've got the game, haven't you? Have you got the game?
Yeah. Which was again, I'm not much of a gamer, but I was mind blowing. I was like, oh my god, like that's actually me. Although it kind of went down in history as like the worst wrestling game ever.
Yeah.
That wasn't my fault, okay? You know what I mean?
No, it's still a bucket list. I know what you mean. And it's like, it's just the figures, because we all grew up with the figures, like, you know? So exactly. I know what you mean. There's certain things that you just want to see, like, you know, like the name on the back of a Download t-shirt or a wrestling figure, or I know some people think it's like, you know, maybe Madison Square Garden as well. Have you performed there yet? Or
I haven't, no, I've been there, but I've not actually performed there. So that's another one I'd love to do, yeah.
Yeah, just because of the history there and everything like that. And how did you get your break into WWE? What was the story there?
So for 2 years, I was working for TNA actually in, what was it, 2015, 2016. And I was out there, and I'd even moved out to Ohio for 6 months at one point. I moved back to the UK at this point. I was traveling back and forth to Orlando, and my contract was running out with them. And I'd already decided that I didn't really want to resign. I was going to look into different things. But during this time, I bumped into William Regal once in LA for a PWG show, and once in London at a Progress show, and we kind of got talking, and he just told me to keep in touch. And then guys like Pete and Trent Seven, they got a tryout over here, and it suddenly became news that this UK division might be starting up. And I got so lucky because my contract timing worked out perfectly, where I think my contract was up on literally like New Year's Eve. So like as the clock went over, I was like free of one contract, and I was really lucky to be able to kind of go straight into another one into this contract with WWE for the UK tournament. And it happens. I mean, I guess it's all timing. It's just like the music world that at the time they just started 205 Live, so they were looking for wrestlers under 205 pounds, which I never thought would work in my favor. Where at the start of my career, that I was a smaller, skinnier wrestler, and then also they were looking for British wrestlers, which again I never thought that would work in my favor. So I just got really lucky, I think, in terms of the timing, because right there and then they were like, we need British wrestlers. Oh, cool. We need, smaller wrestlers. And I was like, hey, I'm around. So it worked out really, really easily for me. And I'm really grateful that I was able to do that first UK tournament back in, 2016, because to me, that was like one of the biggest moments of my career, like being able to wrestle Pete in my first weekend for WWE. I'm not gonna lie, I cried like a baby backstage afterwards. Like one of my first times crying in wrestling, I was like, "Oh my god, we did it! We made it!"
I love that.
So who is like, I know it's a pretty standard question. I bet you been asked it loads of times, but who was like the wrestler that made you go, "I want to be that dude"? Like, who was your favorite wrestler?
So I mean, when I was a kid, I had loads of favorites, like Hulk Hogan's, and even like Road Dogg was randomly my favorite for a while.
Man, yeah.
But like the ones who really stuck out to me were always the kind of the smaller, high flyer kind of wrestlers. So Jeff Hardy, huge inspiration, then Rey Mysterio as well, and Shawn Michaels. So those three were the ones that really kind of stuck out in my head as like kind of the guys that made me want to do it, who made me realize that it was possible because they were smaller and they were doing these crazy flips and stuff. Yeah. So Rey Mysterio is a real big one, I think, because I mean he's incredible. He's one of the best of all time, and even now I think he's in his 40s and he's still having some of the best matches of his career. So if he's not on everybody's kind of influential persons list, then I don't know who is, because he's outstanding.
Yeah. So do you know like the opportunities that come with wrestling, the doors that open? Like is that something? Are you obviously just focusing on wrestling right now? But like, if that opportunity come for films and stuff, is that something you would, or have you never really thought about it? Or
no, 100%. I'd love to. I would love to do, if they're good movies or terrible, the dodgy horror movies and stuff. I'd do any of it. I love it. I mean, I definitely don't think my acting would be good enough for real movies, but I'll do Sharknadoes. I'd love to.
Man. Yeah.
I mean, I've recently been recording a podcast with the BBC actually about pro wrestling and about kind of my career and my journey, which hopefully will be out at some point early next year. And I've realized I feel like I've now developed a bit of a passion for kind of, well, I guess talking, as in like in a talk show type stuff. So I'd love for wrestling to open up doors into other avenues, whether it be a talk show or a podcast like this, and something like that, or acting if I were to ever be good enough to be an actor. But I do doubt that one, but I'd love to do it, and I'd love to give it a shot regardless.
I think it does, man, because like, especially podcasting at the moment, and I think Joe Rogan said it best, the TV is slightly dying out now from where we all grew up. You always watched your certain show on a Saturday night, which was live or whatever. That's all kind of dying out because everything's turning into streaming or your Spotify's or your YouTube channels. And I found it interesting over the last couple of years, discovering loads of podcasts, whether it be music or wrestling, and you get more of an insight or an honest opinion on the business and stuff that you know interests me at my age, and especially like music ones as well. You know what I mean? Like people who've been in bands and the arguments that happen, or the business takes over the dream, like, do you know what I mean? So I definitely think a podcast would be cool, Mark. That's something to look at, like.
Yeah, definitely. As I say, I'm really excited for this one with BBC to come out early next year, because we've been recording it now for like almost 2 years, I guess. It kept getting pushed back because of COVID and stuff like that. So I'm really excited for that to come out. And as you said, I think with stuff like TV dying out, I think it's weird. Podcasts have kind of proven that people are interested in people.
Yes.
You know, that like it hasn't always got to be anything more than just a story from someone's perspective and stuff. And that's what I've realized anyway over the last year or two of now recording with the BBC, is that like people's stories are interesting, and not that I never wanted to even assume that my story was interesting, because I'm like, oh, no one would care. But then the more you go into kind of talking about it, I'm sure you guys have found it, with this, that the more you talk about like the band and how you met and the things you've achieved and the things you want to achieve, like it's an interesting thing, because I think people tend to like to listen to those things. I do, at least, from all the podcasts I listen to. I mean, I've been listening to Sean Smith's Sapling podcast ever since it started, and it's great. And it also helps because Sean's so funny as well. He's
we've known him for years.
He knows everyone as well.
We've known him for years, and that was an influence on us starting this as well. We've been talking about doing a podcast, but because the band was like proper active at one point, it's like, where'd you find the time?
Exactly.
And then obviously this happened, and we were like, we got to stay active. What can we do? And then, like Shane had mentioned about a podcast years ago, and then we thought, right, let's just do it. Well, how can we do it in different houses? So hence this technology came, and we had to learn how to do it in the software. How can I ping that? And then we started having people on from whether it be LA or England or whatever. Right? How can we? So it's been Brill kind of adapting. And more than anything, like I might have come across you via Sean or via Ryan or something in the pub. And like, that's what we wanted to create with this, is like everybody like we'd want to meet or want to chat to. Like if I knew you were at a club or something, I'd want to ask you certain things. Do you know what I mean? It's not all like press. But as you become mates with people, it's like you said, people want to know people. So you start to talk about your childhood. How did you grow up? How did you get into drumming? How did you get into singing? How did you get into wrestling? It's just different occupations or different dreams or whatever. And that's what we loved about doing the CrowCast, is like we were speaking to Johnny Owen the other day, and like learning how he got into being a director, and Jimmy Watkins, who's doing the Running Punks, just people that we've seen on the internet, but we think, it'd be great to kind of bump into him and ask him that. And this has created that platform to do it. Like, it's not so much journalistic, if that makes sense. Do you know what I mean? I know you've done many of that in your career, where you sit down, you're like, and yes, and we've done the same, and you have to answer everything and blah blah. But this was more of a getting to know people, and then obviously. And telling our audience about them as well. Like, this is something that the boys know I'm very passionate about, the wrestling side, but also like myself, Dave, and some of the other boys, we've all grown up with the pop punk. So it's like, I've heard Junior, so it's not even the boys went, oh, and Mark Andrews is in a band. Yeah, I knew you were in a band. Do you know what I mean? So it's kind of cool. Like Shane said, it's a double whammy, innit, mate, that we've got somebody to kind of cater for both audiences, because like obviously Jericho's the same, he's in Fozzy, and then obviously he continues with his career and stuff, and that's why I always say to the guys, I'd love our band to get more involved with that side of it. And I think there's so many bands out there, that's why wrestling is cool now. Like, do you know what I mean? There's so many bands who want to be involved, whether it be with NXT or any kind of company, to kind of be in the action of it, like, because we're all still fans, like, so
it's crazy you say that, because I when I started wrestling, I just always assumed that like bands are too cool to like wrestling. Like bands are way too like that's the cool thing to like music, like pop punk or metal or hardcore. And then throughout my career, I've just met so many of my favorite bands who like wrestling. like Ryan, for example, you know, I was a massive fan of Funeral for a Friend, and Sean, you know, massive fans of Blackout and Funeral for a Friend when I was a kid. And then the Wonder Years, one of my favorite bands. And when I was out in LA one time, I just bumped into the singer, Soupy, at the show. And he was like, we got this weird impression where we were both almost like fans of each other. Like, hey, are you Soupy? And him being like, oh, hey, man, your match was great. And me being like, this is weird. Like, are you a fan of me? Because that's really weird. I'm a massive fan of you. So it's cool that, you know, Andy from Every Time I Die, like, he's now started his wrestling career and he's smashing it. And it's been really cool for me to have this almost like validating moment of like, people think wrestling's cool now.
Yeah, I think they always have. It's a weird joke I've had in the past. Like I think I was there one day when Ryan started talking about it, and I just kind of appeared, and I was like, "Do you like wrestling?" He was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Me too." And then, you know what I mean? Everybody becomes. But the last 10 years especially, it's very open now. Everybody's kind of exploding about it or wanting to be involved with it. Like, do you know what I mean? So I think that's one of the first things I said when we got the record deal. Was like, I fucking love wrestling. If you can get us involved with wrestling, that's amazing. And that was genuinely at the meal, wasn't it, Shane, when we signed the record deal. It's like literally straight off the bat, like, you know.
Yeah, I think like any sort of whether it be wrestling, UFC, boxing, to hear the walk music, you know, get into the ring, the octagon or whatever. That's a big deal, isn't it? That's
I think and there's a huge crossover, isn't there? Because like when I was a kid, all my favorite music kind of came from like either the wrestling video games or like Tony Hawk's video games. Because I mean, getting a song on a Tony Hawk's video game, that would be the peak of you know my music career if that ever happened. So there's a huge crossover, isn't there, of just the interest from, I guess, kind of the alternative scene in general. It is like, you know, alternative music, wrestling, UFC, skateboarding. It's all those kind of, they all fit under the same banner, don't they?
I think there was bands like Beat Sticks and Bouncing Souls and old school bands that I kind of got into via, like you said, video games or that kind of pop punk scene at the time. Like, do you know what I mean? Like going to Deconstruction and stuff when that used to happen. And you'd have like the most ultimate bill of like A and Lagwagon and Pennywise all playing on the same stage in a day, like, or Cap Down, and you know what I mean? So yeah, there's definitely a crossover. And I think it's always been kind of crossed over in America. But I think it's taken longer yet again. We always take a little bit longer over in Britain to kind of catch on to that scene, or you know, because I can't remember, like, when I used to know Sean back in the 2007s, 8s, I can't remember a lot of people talking about, like, your WWEs or your independent scenes and stuff then, if that makes sense. It was all about Kerrang and just like what you said, just punk or metal or rock, like, you know. There was never really any, or Xbox, actually. Xbox just came out, so a lot of people were talking about gaming. That just started to break in around that time, like, you know. Was he frozen by there? Is he frozen?
He has, unless he's acting. That's a good acting. If he is, maybe he is good for films.
Do you know what? Yeah, that was like a proper straight face then, wasn't it? I was like, that was almost one of those when I had to think of everything I just said in 20 seconds to go, did I say something to offend him then? Like, proper pan face, like, you know what I mean?
Hopefully he'll come back now. But yeah, I mean, it is definitely a crossover. That's a massive buzz, isn't it? Can you imagine being in the audience, watching a big star walking down to the ring and our tunes are playing? Like, that's,
man. It's like, you know, like I said to you, I think over the last few years, it's just become bigger. Like, I was watching NXT the other day, and I was telling you all about like Code Orange and stuff like that. So you discover a lot of bands. Like Papa Roach, Nickelback, they've all been kind of showcased. I'm not saying it's made them, but like Edge walks out to Alter Bridge. Do you know what I mean? And I've seen it a lot with wrestling, where there's like massive tunes or a really catchy tune, and that's what leads you on then to buy the band's record, or vice versa. Like, you know, so you know, you like that track, and then you find out, oh, that wrestler kind of walks out to it. So it always kind of marries, especially, like I said, and he won't mind me saying like Chris Jericho's got like the rock and wrestling, so he does like the cruises where it's all like I think Phil Campbell played it. So you've got all bands playing throughout the day, but then they mix in like matches and stuff as well, and storylines, and then they also do, which is quite clever now, like podcasting and interviews, and do you know what I mean? Just loads of little bits like that, which is really, really cool, like, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. But like, I want to ask you a question, but like, in your opinion, right now, when I was a kid, the wrestlers I knew, Hulk Hogan, Ultimate Warrior, Undertaker, Legions of Doom, you know, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, blah, blah, blah. What's the golden age about? Was it better then or now? There's a question. You talk about football and stuff. You say, oh, back in the day, George Best, blah, blah, blah.
I think the athleticism is incredible now. And I think Mark wouldn't mind me saying this, but the golden age for me is the Attitude Era. I think when we watched it as kids, like you're talking 19. Hey, there he is. You're talking 1990, and maybe a little bit before when.
Sorry about that.
It's all right, mate. It's technology in there. You can't fight with that.
You know what? I intentionally didn't use this camera because I thought this one's really low quality. And now I'm here. I should have used this all along. I don't know you did.
Yeah, and the microphone's great as well. It's great. It's all right, man. But yeah, about 1990 is when I kind of got into that wrestling thing. Shane just basically asked Mark, like, it's kind of it's an honest question of, do I prefer wrestling now or like when we were younger? And I said the athleticism is far better now. The moves, like especially yourself, you're a high flyer, what they call a high flyer, and then the stunts. I'd say the stunts were more the Attitude Era. It's hard to replicate what was there because some of the moves they were doing then as well, and some they were career-ending moves for our entertainment. Like, do you know what I mean? So he asked, "What's the golden age of wrestling? What do I think is the golden age?" And I think it's the Attitude Era. Nothing against this era of wrestling. I'm more of a story. I like a really good storyline. So I love that drama, and I love the art of blurring the lines, I think they call it, where you're trying to work out if it's a work or a shoot. You know, is that real? Are they really arguing by there, or is that part of the storyline? I love that, where you're confused as a watcher, like. So I think that still is about. There's very rare kind of storylines that happen, and as fans, we kind of go, "Oh my god, that's amazing!" So you jump on it. But the moves now with like NXT UK, all the companies out there, what they're doing, some of the performers out there, tag team divisions is phenomenal at the moment, Shane. It's just like, and the old school wrestlers, I'll say this because I don't want Mark to kind of get into trouble or anything. Some of the old school maybe wrestlers,
you go for it.
some of the old school wrestlers will maybe look down on that because they see it all a bit too kind of gymnastics, and where I think it's phenomenal what they can do in a ring at the moment. That's amazing. So I think a touch of that with old school, and you've got that perfect balance of like great storylines but great athleticism. Do you know what I mean? I don't know if that answers your question, Shane.
Yeah, combination of the both.
Yeah.
What about you, Mark? What do you do to kind of like, raising the bar sort of on every fight?
Well, I guess it's hard wrestling because it's you kind of have to work with what you're given to an extent.
Yeah.
So a lot of it is about kind of making the most out of each opportunity, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So for me, being like a athletic wrestler, as you said, more of the kind of flippy wrestlers, I'm always, even if it's just for me in my own satisfaction, I'm always trying to do something different, like do something. At least one thing different in every match, and at least do one thing which no one's ever seen before or not seen many times anyway. And I'm a sucker for big stunts as well. So if you hand me ladders and tables, then I'll be the first one to put my hand up and want to jump off them,
Yeah, that's awesome.
Before we lose you as well, Mark, I'd like to talk about Junior as well. Obviously, your record dropped in 2019.
Yeah.
Beautiful Life.
We've lost him again.
I thought we did.
He's
No, he's there.
Yes. Apologies. This is the dodgy internet room. This is.
It's all right, mate. Yeah, your record dropped August 2nd, 2019, Beautiful Life. And you managed to do a UK tour just before COVID, is that right?
Yeah. Well, the end of 2019 we did, which was lucky now in retrospect. I miss those times very much now. But yeah, it was an awesome tour. It was great. We got to kind of just do all of the UK and get to hit our favorite places, and also just play new material. As I'm sure you guys can relate to. It's always like a weird one playing new material to a crowd, isn't it? Because you're never sure if it's fans just want to hear like kind of stuff that they know. We've all been at gigs where bands want to play the new stuff and the crowd kind of go, didn't really care for that so much. But yeah, it was loads of fun, and I think we had a really good kind of reaction to the album, which has been nice. And in a way, I guess, again, a silver lining of this year is that people have had a chance to kind of listen to it more, I guess, because sometimes things move so fast in the music scene that stuff can completely kind of get skipped over and looked over and not appreciated. Whereas a lot of people have been reaching out to us like on social media this year, talking about listening to the album and how it's meant more to them. I guess it's potentially meant more to them because they've had the time to listen to it over this year. And if our music could have, helped anyone in any way, this especially this year, that's amazing. We couldn't have asked for a better reaction than that, really.
It's a great record, bro. Where did you record it?
So we actually recorded it locally in Cardiff with Tim Vincent. He used to play in. Well, actually, I'm not even going to try and list you all the bands he used to play in because he's been.
Yeah, we know Tim. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a great dude. And I went to uni with him, and he's such a good dude. And he's such a good producer as well, especially for like heavy stuff. For like some of the guitar tones he can whack out are insane. And we kind of wanted. Even though this album's a bit more, I don't want to say pop, but it's definitely more rock than it is heavy or pop punky. We thought he would be the best to kind of make it sound big because it's quite what's the word I'm looking for? An over the top record, if you will. Like for a local band, we tried to really throw out all the bells and whistles, and we got like a kids choir involved, for example, and we've got songs which we feel like they should be played in front of stadiums by The Darkness, but instead it's by Junior in front of 50 people, So we try to go big for a small band, and he was definitely the right guy to do it because he made it sound huge. The guys they went to record drums elsewhere because his studio isn't actually. He suggested going to the ranch instead. I don't know if you guys have been to the ranch, but it's outstanding. I actually missed going there because I was wrestling at the time, going back to what we said earlier about missing big band moments. But fortunately enough, I wasn't going to be much help with recording drums anyway. So,
what's the writing side of things, Mark? Like, is it a complete collaboration, or do you bring stuff and then you just jam it out? How does it work?
So credit to Matt, who's singer and guitarist. He really does. I mean, he's an incredible writer. And the dynamic when we first started was very much me and Matt wrote all the music. And over time, he's kind of now got, I guess, like a full-time living writing music because he writes entrance music for wrestlers, funnily enough, which is another crazy tie-in. And so he's honestly, I can't put him over enough for how good of a songwriter he is. And up until now, it's always been he writes a lot of the skeletons, and then me and Si will kind of pitch in where we can. And for example, I'll do some of our like punkier songs. Like I think I did the kind of the skeleton of PYD and like Hey Becca and stuff that I'm more comfortable with. But in terms of the big kind of ballads that we've released on the album, that's all Matt, and then we'll all kind of just add our own bits to it. Whether it be a lyric here or there, or a change of the melody, or how the drums sound from Si. But we've gone forward with the writing this year. We've kind of left a lot of it to Matt because one of our problems we found as a band in the past is potentially having slightly disjointed albums and releases, stuff which we'll get excited about doing one type of song and then equally want to do something else. And to me, if I'm honest, that's the music that I like to listen to. Like when I was a kid and I picked up a Guns N' Roses album, it didn't all sound the same. You know, I picked up a Queen album. It didn't sound like the same song 10 times. And something that we like to do now is try and have an album which doesn't sound like the same song 10 times. But I do think that, you know, in 2020, that does risk going into the kind of trying to hit too many things, trying to spin too many plates in one go. So at the moment we're kind of relying on Matt for a lot of the writing, and what we've got coming up in the future is super exciting. He's been taking a lot of 70s influence at the moment, and I can say that the demos alone I'm a big fan of, and credit where it's due to him, he's absolutely smashing it.
Oh, that's cool. That's something we kind of try and do as opposed to like writing how you would for an album and then trying to mix it up and change it up for a live gig. Giving the audience something different. We've like brought in the pianos and strings and stuff. So yeah, I think you're absolutely right, Mark. Like you've got to evolve, haven't you? You've got to keep changing. You gotta keep pushing the bar to keep people interested and yourself, which is really important. Because if you're not pushing that bar and pushing yourself, it'll just sound the same, and you're not really. It's just not gonna connect with people, I think. You've got to try new stuff. I'd rather try stuff and fail miserably than not. That's how I.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. And it's funny, isn't it? Because we've never been signed to a label, and we always thought, when are we going to get that big label? I mean, still to an extent do feel like, when's a label going to reach out and stuff like that. And weirdly, I've almost been, it's been a lot of perks to not having a label, in case some of these ideas that we've kind of put out there have been, oh no, don't do less of that, do more of this, because we've almost been left to our own devices up until now, and that might in the future be a time that we look back at and miss, like kind of making mistakes and learning from them, and kind of to an extent doing whatever we want, adding a random kids choir to our album, and and writing a song like Brick by Brick, which we kind of specifically wrote to be used in a wrestling context before. Like, let's write the best wrestling song that we possibly can that could go with a pay-per-view. And did it necessarily fit completely perfectly with some of the other songs on the album? I mean, maybe not, but again, I'd rather almost have a slightly more interesting album, which as you said, does push a few areas as opposed to just sticking in one straight line, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's a great point, Bud, because producers, labels, they almost get sort of fixated on what sells as opposed to giving the artist the freedom to take a punt or try something, because they could strike gold, but sometimes that you can't, because you have to do this because that sold last week. And I think bands like Queen and all those bands you just mentioned, they did break the mold. They did go and try something new and were hugely successful because they did, and then spawned another generation of rock acts or punk acts, or you know what I mean. So you've got to be pushing those buttons, man. You've got to, otherwise what's the point? You're just going to sound like everybody else. Yeah.
And it's funny because without pushing those buttons, I mean, you'll never break into the next, or potentially break into what the next fad will be, sticking to the same thing all the time is surely, that's the easiest way to go stale, if that makes sense. You've always got to at least attempt to do something different, because if you don't, how will the next big thing come out? And I'm not saying that Junior's next album will be the next big thing. You heard it here first, but it's what I mean. You got to at least try, haven't you? You got to try and do something that's different, and whether it's different to the world or even it's just different for your band alone. It's that's I think that's what's important as well, to kind of develop.
Exactly, mate. Because if you hadn't gone out on a limb and create a scene yourself, you wouldn't be where you are today. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, keep pushing, man. Create your own destiny, your own future. Definitely with that, brother.
No, cheers, man. Yeah, that's definitely. I appreciate you saying that, because again, looking back now, and I think with the wrestling scene stuff, if we hadn't kind of been stubborn in some ways and been selective on advice that we've taken from like higher ups back then, it wouldn't have worked out how it did now. So I'm trying to kind of adopt those, that mindset now of music as well, and trying to just, everyone's trying to do the best they can, don't they, in terms of making the right move and stuff. But sometimes you just got to go, you get instinct, don't you?
Yeah. And what I love about you, dude, listening to you talk, is like most people would be really happy with their wrestling career going the way it is for you right now. but you're still like, nah, let's do the band as well. I love that, bud.
Yeah, the hunger.
Yeah. I love that.
It's funny. Again, as I said, when we started the band, it would have been a massive regret for me if I had never been able to go on tour or released a song and released a music video and all the things that I really enjoyed doing. And now I can't imagine not doing it. Now it's such a big part of my life that I'm like, oh, why did I do this earlier? Why didn't I always try and juggle wrestling in a band?
Yeah. Incredible. Fair play to you. I couldn't do it. I'd be fucking exhausted.
Well, now you guys got to do it, right? You got to get training, get your first match under your belt, and be a wrestling music guy.
I tell you what, imagine me and him up here as a tag team championship.
Fucking, we'd have him, boy. We'd have him. I'll go in for the hot tag, and that'll be it then. It's all over.
Amazing.
Amazing.
Mark, thank you so much, bud, for joining us tonight.
Thank you guys for having me. Apologies again for all of my technical difficulties. I hope for next time I'll know. This is the one.
Definitely, mate. And we would love to have you back on again, because I think we've said it with a lot of the guests. It'd be nice to do a catch up maybe down the line of when we do get into some sort of new normal and the world starts moving, to see where you are and how you're doing as well. And even it'd be just nice to meet you in real life as well and have that beer. And then watch me and Shane wrestle. That'd be great.
100%. Yeah, no, I'm totally up for that. Especially watching you guys wrestle. Especially.
Pay-per-view. Can you imagine how many people would pay for that?
Fucking hell. Jesus Christ.
At least 25.
He's got the crowd.
Man, absolute pleasure, Mark. And keep safe, mate. And keep in touch with us. We'll definitely see you down the line, mate.
Amazing. Thank you, guys. Thanks for having me on. Cheers.
Thank you, brother.
Thanks,
okay, man.
That was awesome. Absolutely awesome. See, I didn't fanboy too much. That wasn't too bad. It wasn't too...
Yeah, no, really bad. I mean, what a lovely dude, like.
Yeah.
He's a really nice guy.
Yeah, the cool thing, let's bring in the boys so we can have a chat with them as well. And then I would like to do some promo work for Junior as well while we're on topic. Here's Dave. And you, Shiner. Sorry, guys, Lloyd couldn't make it on tonight, but you've still got the awesome foursome.
All right, boys, you're both on mute.
Take your mutes off.
You think I'd learn by now, wouldn't you?
Do you enjoy that, boys?
Yeah, man. He looks very familiar to me. You look at someone and go, I've seen you before somewhere.
He's like a more polite, younger Conor McGregor, isn't he?
Yeah, very much so. But he is, going back to what I was going to say then before I brought the boys in, he is a really nice guy. He's, and like, there was so much more to touch on with him as well. Like, I know, like him and Pete, they basically took off to America and like funded it themselves, as in like their own plane tickets and stuff. That's what you do to get on, like, do you know what I mean? So there was a lot more of that. It was an hard one because there was obviously a lot of wrestling questions I wanted to get in, but then I wanted to talk about Junior as well because it is important because they're a great fucking band, like, so I kind of wanted to touch on that. So yeah, it was really cool.
Like you said, but we can get him back on. Lots more to talk about. I just felt like the signal wasn't great, and we weren't getting, the stories, the killer stories weren't going to perhaps come across because of the signal.
It's definitely another part 2 with it, I feel, because like I said, I think in my notes there's about 50 questions that I would have liked to ask him. Well, especially about the pop punk scene and stuff as well. I didn't go massive into it, which I wanted to know what bands he's met. I kind of wanted to know because he's met Shawn Michaels now, obviously. Didn't touch on that. So when he said that was, a person that he'd looked up to, he's actually met him. Triple H, obviously, that we've seen the photo earlier. I wanted to ask him the big important question: has he met Mr. Vince McMahon? Has that moment happened yet, or is it still to come? So there's definitely there's a whole part 2, and plus Junior, you know, they're not going to be going anywhere. They're going to be working on more material and stuff. So I'm pretty sure we can get the guys back on. If I can just read some of this, Junior's recently celebrated 5 years of their EP, Junior Land. Let me just get this photo up. 2 seconds, boys. Trying to multitask. There's Junior Land. So they've recently. I should have really given this to you, Shane. Would have been good, and I brought the pictures up. Here we are. Still learning, innit? 38 weeks. Junior Land, and obviously their new record, which came out in 2019, A Beautiful Life. I've been listening to it all day. Dave's a pop punk fan as well.
It's a catchy little number, that album is.
Yes. Yeah.
I love it. Love a bit of catchy. I love anything catchy. So
the thing is, Dave, like he was on about it's more rockier and stuff, and I agree with him. But there's a lot of I hope Mark doesn't mind this, and I hope the boys done in Junior. There's a lot of like the heaviness of, say, 4 Years Strong.
Mm-hmm.
And then melodically, there's a lot of like Fully Down and stuff like that there, and like, you know, tip-offs to old school pop punk bands and stuff. But yeah. I can definitely see what he means about the rock side of it as well, like, you know. So
I'm downloading it now.
Oh, mate, yeah, you'll enjoy that. It's a really, really good. And for anybody still with us or watching this at a later date or listening to it, because it's going to be an audible version, Junior have a big announcement coming this Friday. So make sure you're following the boys on their socials, on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. It's at Music of Junior, or just head over to their website and you can check all their music out, their videos, their merchandise, photos, all the upcoming news. This Friday, big announcement over at Music of Junior.
Nice.
There he is, man.
There he is. Here he is.
Shine.
Shine is. It's a great album, Shine.
Yeah. So which one was it? Beautiful Life, is it?
Beautiful Life is their new one, which is this one, my son.
Nice production values on there as well.
Very good.
There we are. Added to library.
Junior Land with the updated cover and everything.
I like that graphic. It's cool.
Oh, Junior.
And then they have Junior, the live acoustic set from HMV Cardiff. So yeah, but definitely.
That's the album of the covers, is it?
I think the album that they're working on is 2 seconds, Greeno. During the pandemic, I see we didn't touch on this with him as well. They've recorded 4 covers with the proceeds.
It's like Thin Lizzy, was it? And Boston and whatnot.
Yeah.
I couldn't find that, Dave. Is that on iTunes?
I heard it through the Sappening thing, so I'm not sure. I haven't checked it out. So
okay, yeah. So during the pandemic, Junior have recorded 4 covers with the proceeds going to the NHS. The covers were More Than a Feeling by Boston, Dancing in the Moonlight by Thin Lizzy, I Will Follow You Into the Dark by Death Cab. For Cutie and Mercy Me by Alkaline Trio.
Oh,
yes, Mercy Me actually. That's mad actually because I can hear elements of Alkaline Trio in their music. So
yeah, that's a good thing.
That's cool.
So big announcement for Junior. Head over to their socials this Friday. How are you boys?
We got some breaking news on the site, boys.
John Farmer, thank you. I'll tell the truth. My boy's been sending me messages on the side. Oh, and Mark Andrews has sent an email thanking everybody and apologizing for all the technical difficulties. But thanks for coming on, Mark. Don't worry about it, and we will definitely get you back on for a second part 2. So yeah, let's ignore the message on the screen now. Moving on. Switching gears. How are you, Dave?
I'm very good, thank you. Staying out of trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. But I'm good. I got the book. Look, was it last Thursday? we had a jam. We got to play with my clon, didn't we?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you said your clogs. Yes,
Oh, yeah, no, I got Dutch. Clon, Dave, clon.
That pedal sounded great.
Yeah. It was
For
your
any
face.
people
It
in the guitar out there, Shiner, tell them what it was.
So it's I'm going to say it's an overdrive pedal, isn't it? But there's not really any overdrive in it.
No.
I just use it as a clean boost to crank the volume, and what it does, it drives the front end of the amp.
Yeah, it just sounded really
Clear, wasn't it?
clear, thick, and like tubey, like yeah, it sounded really. Yeah, it was lovely. It was really, really nice.
Yeah, it almost had a little bit more bite. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was yeah. So I'd probably go through valves a hell of a lot quicker now, but
yeah,
the things we do for Tony. Yeah. So yeah, I've had a good week.
Ah, good man.
Yeah.
And you as well, Dave, yeah?
Yeah, man. Same as normal. Like just stay out of trouble, mess around with animals.
What are you drinking by there, Dave?
Oh, a nice little Nipa.
Oh,
it is.
What's that called? Northern Monk.
Yeah. It's a New England IPA made by Scaff. It's made by Northern Monk and it's called Scaffle. Bloody lovely.
Somebody asked what I was drinking earlier. They thought I was drinking a snowball or something, but no, it's boring pint of water with some lemon, fresh lemon sliced up.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice and healthy, but nice and healthy. I'm like green all up there. What's he drinking up there?
I don't know what he's up to. I don't know what he's been drinking.
I'm always drinking.
He's always drinking.
Anything and everything. Back now in a minute.
Back now in a minute. But yeah, I could do with a Merlin actually. But
get on it then, you got time.
I have got time, haven't I? I'll have to do it on a I'll have to do it on I'll do it on a Shine Minister or something like that.
Yeah.
Or pop off.
Should we do the playlist Crow Radio now or
we can do or actually Shane is ready.
It's all good.
There we go. We're all ready.
Sorry, chaps. I'll do a couple of things. Man United are out.
I'm ignoring the chat room for you. That's why I kind of keep like dipping off. Yeah. Hey.
Tell me the lyric. Give me the lyric. What's the next lyric? It's lyric time. Tell me the lyric. Give me the lyric. What's the next lyric? It's lyric time. What's the next line? What's the next line? What's the next line? And now I've got to search my phone for the line. I get a lot of messages here. Okay, so this is quite simple. And if you win, there's anything you want off our website. Greed and violations. Greed and violations. What's the line that follows? Go.
Yeah, so moving on. Enough of the football chat. We've been talking about wrestling all night.
Can't comment on football.
Yes, come on, guys. Let's talk more about music and less about football tonight. Is it? Let's talk about Crow Radio.
Crow Radio.
Whoa. Over to you, David.
This week is fighting themed.
Yes.
Kung Fu fighting.
So kicking off this week's Crow Radio playlist. Oh, bollocks, I've lost it. There it is. Brick by Brick by Junior. Got to start them off on a good one.
Yes, which was the theme tune for NXT TakeOver Cardiff.
Yeah. Next up, The Fighter by Us.
Which was the theme tune by those damn crooks.
Just to start off. The next is The Game. Motorhead, and that was a WWE little number for Triple H, was it?
Which is that was his walkout music for Triple H.
Mm-hmm.
Or he also does the King of Kings as well. There we go.
Oh,
Interesting fact for you.
Fact. Did you know?
That was free. Did you know?
The Wrestler, Bruce Springsteen.
Which was the theme tune for... No,
Burn It to the Ground, Nickelback.
which was the theme tune to Raw. Monday Night Raw. That was the old theme tune. So there we go.
Now, this next one is not to be taken seriously, but it's a good tune nonetheless. Kung Fu Fighting by Carl Douglas.
That's a
The
tune.
next song is the fight song, Marilyn Manson, who seems to be a bit of a regular in our playlists. It's not a bad thing.
I think that's you.
Power, Public Enemy.
Good tune, that is.
Yeah, man. First hip hop song, I think, that's made it into our, well, apart from maybe Beastie Boys, arguably.
Yeah.
Fight Till the End, Jack Savaretti. Eye of the Tiger, Survivor, had to be, didn't they?
Yes.
Rope by the Foo Fighters, because there's fighters in the name. And Saturday Night All Right for Fighting, Elton John, which is a great tune. So that's our fighting playlist, everyone. Go check it out.
That is Crow Radio. It is available right now. And if I do a confession, I didn't know why you chose rope. I got to be honest. I was like, why is he fucking chosen rope? So I thought it was to do with skipping. But I completely missed the most obvious thing that's in your head, which is Foo Fighters. Yeah. I was like, why? Foo Fighters. But I just couldn't grasp. I was like, what the fuck was he choosing rope for? And then I was like, oh, it's rope, it's skipping when they're in the ring, innit? When they're training Rocky, and all of that.
See, I seen it the other way around. I seen it as, the ropes in the wrestling ring.
Wow, there we go. See, Dave should have been like,
it worked that way.
I was thinking soap on a rope.
It'll be the prison.
Yes.
I gotta say, those penises last week was sensational.
That's what she said.
Honestly, it's one of the nicest sweets I've ever had. Thank you so much, Ellie. Thank you so much, Chris. I devoured them in like 20 minutes.
Yes, I would be drinking Jim Beam tonight, but there's a funny story with that. It didn't really last a week. I couldn't contain myself. So yet again, thank you, Shelley. Thank you, Chris.
Yeah,
thanks, guys.
The cakes made it till 11:30 Thursday morning.
Yeah. I devoured the cakes. I pretty much go in like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
But the drink I had? It was the rum, pineapple grenade.
Oh, how did that go?
65%.
Oh.
I thought I was going to love it. I don't know.
You don't know, yeah. That's fair enough. That's fair enough.
It just tastes like battery acid, and I don't know if my body can cope with that.
What did you try it with? Did you mix it? What did you mix it with?
Well, to be honest, I tried it by itself, and my tongue went numb, and I thought this isn't enjoyable. This is just pain. So I didn't try it with Coke. Maybe I should try it with Coke. I should definitely try it with Coke or lemonade.
Pineapple orange juice.
Yeah, or lemonade or something like that.
Yeah.
The whiskey, but fucking mix it.
Lemonade. I go with what Dave said there.
Lemonade, maybe.
Lemonade.
Yeah, maybe try lemonade or try it with lilt. There we go.
Oh, totally tropical taste.
Exactly.
A little bit like my beer.
Yes. Have we got a winner, son?
Yes, we have. I'm sorry to disappoint so many people because people went in there quick. The lyric is, in fact, it's a story they want. A lot of people said it's the story they want. Oh, I'm so sorry. But I've got so many people have said it. And the first person that said it's a story they want was Elaine Bowen.
Well done, Elaine.
Well done.
Well done, Elaine. Tell us what you want, what you really, really want, and we'll send it to you.
Love it.
Oh, here we go.
Was that giving it away?
Give it to me.
Smile. You'll know that your world is a great world after all. Smile, smile, yes, smile.
Yes. Oh, sorry, Dave.
Right.
You can see you give me the eyes. Fucking hell.
When a male honeybee makes love and climaxes, his testicles explode and he dies.
Yeah.
Bit like me, really. Apart from the dying bit.
You it was the way you said that, Dave. That was brilliantly pan-faced.
That's a
Brilliant.
fact. There's nothing funny about it.
That's
Yeah.
I'm
brilliant.
delivering information to the masses. I don't know what I'd be smiling about.
Can we say it again one more time?
One more time.
When a male honeybee makes love and climaxes, his testicles explode and then he dies. So
See,
fair play.
2020 ain't that bad, is it? You know, the poor honeybee, like, that's unbelievable.
Well, it must be a hell of a session, like, for that to happen. Fair play to the queen, like. Hats off.
Kieran, that was a good point. That was. Put Kieran's message back up.
Back
You
on
just
it.
the last one you had there, bud.
I got him. I got him.
If they sting you, they die. If they shag you, they die. What a shit life. It's true.
So maybe that's what's happening when they sting you. They're trying to shag you. And
Yeah.
To be
Dan.
honest, most women I know, they try and sting me.
Yeah. We've seen Dan Griffiths' comment. I had a girlfriend like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's the matter, Mr. B? Oh, my bollocks exploded.
I hear you, Darren. I hear you.
Poor bee. Poor bee.
I know.
I love that.
No wonder they're becoming extinct, isn't it? If things like that are happening. Do you know what I mean?
I didn't know bees were on the extinct list. Like.
Yeah, they are, man. They're on the decline, and they old bees.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's interesting.
Yeah, they are, and they're really, really important. A third of all the foods you eat is because of pollination through bees.
Wow. That was a proper fact.
Wow. Say that one again.
A third of all the food you eat is through pollination of bees.
That's a
So
really
they're very
good
important
fact.
to our, yeah.
They work hard, don't they? Fair play. And then their bollocks just blow up.
Yeah.
All they want is a nice little shag, and that happens. They're home from work after our days pollinating. Quick shag. Oh, bollocks. My bollocks have blown up and I'm dead. What a night.
And that's what this week's Did You Know?
You know what I'm going to say here now, don't you?
What?
I haven't set up the wheel.
You haven't said the real. Well, that's all right, because I got this lined up, so we can just go here.
Smile. You'll know that your world is a great world after all. Smile, smile, yes, smile.
Take two, Dave.
Stitched me up there, but stitch me up.
Take two.
Strawberries aren't berries, but a banana is.
What? Get out.
Whoa. Back up. A strawberry is not a berry.
But a banana is.
What are you
What?
talking about, Willis? What are you talking about, Willis?
Whoa, that's probably beating the peppers one. So strawberries, which I assume are part of the berry family,
But they're not.
but they're not. But a banana is a berry.
Hmm.
Oh, let's go to the chat room. Let's have a look what's
It
going on.
has the seeds a banana does, doesn't
Wow,
it?
Dagmar. Yeah, not bollocks. True.
Back to these.
I shall take this t-shirt and throw it in the bin.
Wow. True. True. Yup.
How?
Oh, Dave's pulling out of the bag here.
Oh,
So
there's a good one by you, Shane. Oliver May, can you read that out?
Banana is technically a herb and related to ginger. What?
Oh wow.
What?
Is everybody drinking this 65% gin? What is going on right now?
Everything you knew about the world is gone, Shane.
These bollocks blowing up.
Right.
Banana's a berry. What is going on?
Harriet straight in with a banana fact. Let's go for this. Go on, Shane, read that one out.
Did you know? See what she did there, Dave? Bananas grow upside down.
Yes.
And that's why they're curved, isn't it? Because they're growing into the sun.
Yeah,
So
and if you give a banana to a monkey, they open it the other way, don't they?
Yes.
That's the way you're supposed to open them, apparently. We open them the wrong way.
Well, that's fascinating. That's so a banana is a berry. It's part
That's
of the
herb apparently.
It's technically a herb and related to ginger,
That's insane.
and it grows upside down.
This show just keeps on giving. It's unbelievable.
It really does. It really does. Every day's a school day.
If we had Stephen Fry on here now, right? It'd be QI.
There we go. That's the future.
Yeah.
Oh, there we are. Alan Thomas, I opened my banana that way too. Do you know, I tried it, but it was more difficult than it seems. I think I'm trained.
You've got the little nod on the end you can grab.
Yeah.
It's almost like it was designed to grab and...
Steve Arnold, but they're fucking great with custard. I love that.
You can't deny that. You cannot deny that.
I love that.
Well done, Steve.
Mad shit in it. I love it.
Wow.
Well, blow my mind. Well done, Dave. Well done. Awesome week, that is. That's blow my mind. Well, let's do let's not give him any royalties.
Okay.
Off we go.
Here we go, folks. Anything you want on the website. Who's it going to be? Who's it going to be? Sean Phillips.
Well done, Sean.
Well done, Sean.
Well done, Sean.
Tell us what you want, what size and what have you, and we'll send that out to you, Sean Phillips. Congratulations.
Outstanding. My mind's still blown over the banana fact. Incredible. But it is that time. Go on.
Oh, no, I was just going to say before we go into anything else, I mean, we're giving away stuff. I've bloody lost it now. Here we go. I just noticed there was a message being brought to my attention. Phil Crocker, can you give a shout out to my daughter, Karen Crocker? She's been a fan of yours before you were the Crows.
Oh, fab.
Yeah, incredible. And Karen's haven't been well. So, Karen, anything you want as well off the website?
Beautiful.
Is yours. Let us know what you want, lovely. And we'll sort that out for you. Yeah, read the comment later, guys. We'll get in touch, Phil. We'll get in touch, bud.
I love that. Perfect, that is. Perfect. And now it's time for my favorite segment. Thank you, Crow family.
Mystery box, mystery box. What's inside the mystery box? Mystery box, mystery box. What's inside the mystery box?
I
started singing variations of that tune. And,
dude, it's been
that's how sad my life has become.
It's fucking been in my head all week, honestly. Like, yeah. And the thing is, here's a little secret. Did you know? When I was opening my mystery box and devouring my reindeer cakes and my spider sweets and drinking my Jim Beam very naughtily, I was singing mystery box.
Yeah,
I don't know if it happened to any of you, but I was like,
every time I see a box.
Yeah.
Lisa's just text me. Cheers. That song's going to be in my head all night and all tomorrow.
Yes, it's a earworm.
Sorry.
It's definitely a earworm. So it's mystery box.
Yes, and unfortunately Lloyd's not here, so I don't know if we should open his box or leave it. What do you think?
Well, you have to do it now. Or leave his off.
Maybe, Shane.
Yes.
We open Shiner's.
Okay.
We open yours.
Yep.
We open mine.
Yeah.
Then we
And
wait for Lloyd. And
Yeah.
then we can do Dave's.
Okay.
Oh, whoa. No, I'm just reading Jane Smith who said open Dave's first. Thank you, Jane.
Who said
Jane
that, Jane?
Smith. Jane Smith.
Don't let her down. Let's see Dave's first. Let's see Dave's box first, please.
Yeah.
I
Jane looks lovely.
absolutely love that idea, but not
Yeah.
tonight.
No.
Because
No.
technically,
Well,
we're
no,
not being mean by you,
not.
Dave.
No.
We're not being mean by you, Dave, because technically Lloyd's not here, as Shane said. So you're technically not last. You might be
Dave.
last tonight, but
Hang
you're
on.
not
Hang
last.
on. Lloyd's coming through in satellite.
Oh, there's a late run in. That'd be great. I would wrestling now. In comes Lloyd. Dave's like, no. Ah.
Box tonight, lads. It's from the wonderful Jack Skinner. And
Thank you,
I
Jack.
opened up a card. Look at this card. Ah, this is lovely. Now, this is the first time I've seen this, right? Obviously, so I'm reading this out and hoping this is okay to read out. God, there's so much glitter. There's glitter everywhere.
That's a beautiful card.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Hey guys, I really hope these parcels reach you intact. Just a few Yorkshire tastes. Ronnie, I hope one of them will be useful for your amazing cooking skills. I thought it said amazing looking skills.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
And a few treats from my workplace. A supermarket that rhymes with Lanesbury's. Have a fabulous Christmas. Here's to a much better and rocking 2021. To those damn crows, Shane, Lloyd, Dave, Shiner, and Ronnie, cannot even begin to thank you enough for being you. All our love. Jax, Ella, Izzy, and the cats. Jax,
Thank you,
so much.
guys. Thank you so much. Really, really appreciate it. Thank you.
I love this shit, man.
I know it's brill. It's brill.
Dave's
Just
all
use,
tense down there now.
Right, so who's first? Shiner?
Shiner.
Yes, go on, bud.
Alphabetical order.
Right, so by the looks of it, we got 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 5 presents. So we're going with a small bottle here. This is the first one.
Love that. Ooh, look at that.
What the hell is that?
Let me put full screen on now so I can make it out.
Yeah, that's a good idea, actually. Well done. Good producing, Dave. Oh,
Somebody read it to me. Relish, is it?
it's Worcester sauce, dude, isn't it?
Ah,
Splash
Hey,
it
look
on.
like
It's a
this
relish. Strong and northern relish.
That's awesome.
oh, bit of that on cheese on toast, boys.
That's it.
Exactly. A
Yeah,
bit of Welsh rarebit, isn't it?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you very much for my bottle of Worcester sauce.
Interesting fact. I normally put some of that in my bolognese.
Yes. I put some in a chili I made earlier.
Yes.
Yes.
There's another bottle, Shiner.
Ooh.
Oh, cheeky little Malbec.
Oh, fuck, look at that, Dave. Let's see
What's that
Dave's
white,
face. Let's see Dave's face, everybody. I love this shit.
Thank you for my Malbec. See if I got Malbec, man. I got Malbec.
You're coming a long way, you have, Shine. It was just vodka before. Now it's beer. Now it's German beer. Wine. Okay, so there's this one.
Oof.
Two Shine, I love Jacks.
Oh, what we got in this
And
one?
Co. What is this?
Oh, Shiner boy. Open it up.
Oh,
Die
now
Bachen
we're talking.
Stars.
Chocolate
All
bar.
those things, yeah.
Ooh,
Yes.
that's
Yeah, they're
interesting.
festive spiced sort of biscuits, isn't they?
They'll be gone by Thursday.
But he'll be gone tonight. You will not have them.
What's going on there?
Yorkshire mixtures.
Sweet.
Yorkshire.
Yes. See? Sweet.
Not a penis in sight.
Not a bad thing here, but not a bad thing here.
I'll leave that one for you, buds, eh? I won't open that.
Okay.
Very
Thank you very
cool.
much for my gifts.
There's another one. One more.
Oh, one more. Bloody, I was spoiled.
I was jumping the gun there.
Oh, look at that, Yorkshire tea.
Yes.
Now we talking. Happy man, now I got tea.
That's fab.
I'm thinking, bud, you probably prefer that to the Malbec, do you?
Yeah.
Have a kettle on.
I'll swap you Malbec for a box of PG tips.
There we are. That's you, bud.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jax. That's awesome. Right, who's next? Ronnie?
Yes, please.
Mr.
Wow, I didn't know that. Steve Arnold. Did you know Worcestershire sauce contains anchovies, which actually are a type of lemon?
Yeah, I think that's a joke. The second part of that's a bit of a joke, I think.
Oh, fucking hell, I'm so gullible, aren't I? That's what I was
But
thinking,
it does
anchovies.
contain anchovies, though.
It does contain anchovies, is it?
Yeah, but not a type of lemon. If they
Wow,
are,
I didn't
then
know
that
that. I got a bottle of that, actually, up there.
Ronald has also got a bottle of something.
Yes.
Could this be this?
Oh,
I think there's a pattern emerging here.
fuck
Hey.
I. Yes, I'm well happy with that. Well happy with that.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Oh,
Ooh, it's double wrapped.
It's another Malbec.
yes.
Someone bought a case of Malbec.
Yes.
Definitely a pattern emerging here.
Yeah, I'll try and have that off you just before next CrowCast so I don't drink it sooner.
Yeah.
You'd be lucky. You'd be gone.
Fucking pubs are closed now. Shane ain't delivering those.
Mm.
Yes. Fabulous.
Sweeties.
I'm assuming all these look very similar. I think we got duplicates.
Nice.
Lovely.
No need to open Dave's box then.
No. You got tea as well.
Yes. Thank you very much. Thank you. Then real northern theme there.
Mm.
Yes.
I see a trade coming on here, Ron. I'll swap you my Malbec for your tea.
Oh, that's a good swap. That is.
I was holding out for that swap, Shane.
Yeah. It's fucking brilliant.
Oh, I
isn't
do
it?
like a bit of tea. I've been getting into my tea lately, so
Yeah, but it can't beat a bit of Yorkshire tea, sorry, Shiner boy.
It is good.
the gold one. Have you had the gold one before? That's nice as well.
So, David,
Yes.
this one's mine.
Yeah. Oh, freaking hell.
They all look the same shape and size.
That's what she said.
Yorkshire.
Ah, look at that. You've even got a birthday card.
Oh, wow, that's awesome.
Ah, how did you know, Jax? Thank you so much. I'll keep that. I'll keep that for Boxing Day.
It's another Brussels sprout.
Yes. That's nice in a bit of tomato juice as well, Shane. Don't know if you ever dabbled down that.
Yeah, Bloody Mary. Chuck a bit of that in there.
A bit of vodka then as well.
Yes,
A bit of celery.
definitely.
Celery's obviously for, health and dieting.
A bit of
Another
Malbec.
fancy bottle of Malbec.
Oh. So you can wash your tomato juice with vodka and Worcester sauce down with a nice bottle of Malbec.
Now, if I don't get a bottle of Malbec, I'm going to be fucking livid.
Oh, fucking hell. I hope we have like Panda Pop or something now.
Yeah.
Just to wind me up.
Some river water. Have that.
Yes.
Yes, there's definitely a pattern here.
Which Shiner's looking at it as currency now. He's like, oh, right.
You could tell Jax is a mother. She's like, she can't have one without the other. Do you know what I mean? It's all got to be the same. My mum was the same. the kids would kick off, wouldn't they, if they have something different, right?
Yeah.
Lush.
Oh, sweeties.
Yeah, they're nice.
Oh,
They
I
are.
might have a go at them now.
Bees just said, I always have a Bloody Mary when I'm in the airport. No idea why, just tradition. I tend to have a beer. It doesn't matter what time I get there, B, but I've got my little traditions when I get to the airport. Yeah, it don't matter if it's 3, 4 in the morning, whatever, but I've actually got the right ingredients to make a Bloody Mary. I got some tomato juice.
Thank you so much, Jack.
Bloody Marys are good.
Wonderful human.
Thank you so much. And that was Mystery Box.
Hey. Good night, everyone.
Tips off.
Sorry,
Do this car around shit, you know.
Just trying the sweets. Yorkshire mixture, they're banging, yeah?
I never heard of a Yorkshire mixer.
No. Sam said he still prefers PG tips. I don't know, when you speak to tea drinkers, because you're a real tea drinker, you are, Shine. A lot of people love their Yorkshire tea.
Yeah, it's definitely more tea in it. You know, like, you know, I put a lot of milk in, don't I?
Yeah.
And just to cool it. But then with PG tips, it's almost more milky. But then Yorkshire tea, it leaves the tea taste in. So it's good, stronger. I think is the word I'm after.
Ah.
Hey,
Yeah.
Dave, you got something different to us.
Ooh.
Come on, eh?
It's vibrating.
Ooh. Oh.
Still ticking.
Ah, it's Twindy.
Oh, look at that.
What is it? Are they like
Balls, David. Balls.
Tennis balls.
Yeah, well, she make light work of them for, you know.
Twindy, Love Jackson Co. and the cats.
I should make light work of them.
Jack said, oh, there's a note here. That's instead of the Merlot.
Oh, I fucking livid.
I fucking flick back to him at the right time, man. It's the guitar. It's the guitar.
Lucky Devo.
Good job. I love my fucking animals. Isn't it?
You got a bottle of that, look.
There we are. Something for me. Something for me for last, at last.
Don't worry. You got some chocolate biscuits.
Hey, there we go.
Don't worry. You got some Yorkshire mixtures.
And
And that's your lot, bud.
yes.
Those tennis balls are expensive, eh? I got 2 bottles of Malbec. What's this, David? What's this? She hasn't let you down, but
Yes.
there we go.
Yes. Thank you very much. Very, very much appreciated.
I'm assuming Lloyd's is the same, so I'll let him. Shall I let him?
Yes. Yeah. And he can do a thank you when he's on next week.
Jax, the cats, the family, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing.
I like this segment.
It's brilliant. And we know for a fact it will be back next week. So that was Mystery Box. Thank you, Jax and the family and the cats.
Mystery box, mystery box. What's inside the mystery box? Mystery box, mystery box. What's inside the mystery box?
Oh, you be our boys. It's that time of the week.
What's been going on in Shane?
Well, I tell you what caught my eye this week. There's been a bit of Brexit on the old box this week. So I did notice now that apparently the only hold up now is between France and the UK. over the rights of the fishing waters. Right? So I thought to myself, oh, okay. Well, you know, I thought that. But then I thought to myself, what happens if there's a fish, right? You know, halfway in British water, halfway in French water. Who's that fish belong to? You can see it about kind of World War III over the fucking fish. Like.
Worst things have happened, but
Oh, fucking hell.
Chop it in half, innit?
Well, but then the problem you have there, right, is, you know, most of the meat on the fish is towards the tail, innit? So, say Britain has the end part, they'd be kicking off that they didn't have as much meat as France. Like. Fucking COVID ain't the problem, boys. I tell them this is a fucking problem. You know what I mean? How long's it been? 4 years, and now they're arguing over fish. Fucking hell, come on. You know, but
here we are. Harriet Breeze said, "Whoever catches it first."
Yeah, but it's not that easy, I don't think.
Rob Evans, half a fish finger each.
Well, I tell you, boys, they'd be fucking nuking each other by this time next fucking March now.
Annie Joyce, British fish, has a blue passport, obviously. It's a good one by Jane Smith. Heads or tails?
Well, yeah.
Flip a coin, isn't it?
Heads or tail, fairy tales, Boris, make your mind up. Like.
Clay Kid, that's a bit fishy.
Yeah, and then of course I suppose the other news is today they started jabbing people with what they call in the vaccine. Like.
Aye, yeah, it's rolling out.
First ever person from Coventry, was it?
Yeah, 90-year-old lady when I did see it on the news earlier. I can't remember the name.
Yeah. I did say it off air earlier, Shine Minister. My 94-year-old father was complaining due to the fact that he's older than her. So he was trying to work out, Shine Minister, why couldn't he have it first? He was watching the news. He was cowing, tamping. You try and tell a 94-year-old that, there are people more important. I was giving him all our speech, and nurses and doctors. And he was going, well, she's bloody 90. I'm older than her. So, yeah.
Well, he's correct.
Yeah,
that's the case,
Yeah, because I thought the same. Like I said to you boys earlier, I thought the same. That they're giving it to the older people, but then what about the people who are dying? I can't work that out. By them having it, will they stop them dying? I don't know. I'll have to ask my one of my advisors about that. Oh, sort it out.
Yeah, your health minister. Yeah.
Yeah, but they probably wouldn't know either, Dave.
Yeah.
Just like Ronnie said, though, it's a prevention, isn't it?
Yes, that's the word I was after, but it left my brain.
I mean, like I said, I think it's signs moving in the right way, which is great. And I'm seeing a lot more positivity on the socials, which is great. Because I tend to try and avoid all the negativity. I think there's too much of that going on at the moment. So I don't know if you agree with that in Parliament, guys. But yeah, I'm just I think if you're having a bad day, maybe go for a walk, go for a run. Just try and do something positive. If you're not feeling that you're doing enough, try and learn something, learn a language, have a look on YouTube. You know what I mean? So yeah, just keep positive. It's all moving in the right way.
Yeah,
we're getting to spend Christmas with people. I think that I'm in a cheerful mood. It's lovely to have the tree up in the house and stuff like that. So it's always a nice time of the year to, you know what I mean. I know we can't go to the pubs like normally. By now we're laughing and joking about the Christmas with the Crows or doing something together and stuff. But it'll all get back to some normality at some point. Like, do you know what I mean? And we just make the most of what we got. And if that's 400, 500, 200, 400 of us having a little tapple on the screen and wishing each other all the best, then nobody's alone at the end of the day, are they? So
yeah, absolutely. And I think the last couple of days I've seen tours starting to be announced again. Okay, for this time next year, But I'm like, well, okay, they know something. So
well, they're having music festivals in certain parts of Australia now, aren't they? In the west part of Australia, they've having festivals and stuff because they haven't had cases for months. So there's hope out there.
So yeah, we're moving in the right direction.
There's a few people that I can see in the messages there. I've lost it now. God damn it. There we are. Natalie Newton-John, having mine this week. Let us know. Anybody that is having it.
Yeah.
Let us know how you're feeling. You know, when you do have it, what's the symptom? You know, what do you feel bad? Do you feel sluggish? I don't know. Let us know. You know, more people know. What I'm saying is, the more people that know, you know, you could be afraid of it, can't you? Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I think the more people that have it and then say how they're feeling, you know, in the Crow family and get talking about it, I guess.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. I am a little bit skeptical because I almost feel that I'm not in that risk bracket. So why would I take it? The only reason why I would take it is for us to go to places, you know, whether it be abroad or I'm being able. I can imagine there being rules and regulations. If you can't have it, you're not doing this gig or blah, blah, blah.
Yes.
But I don't know. We got a good chance of getting in and being okay, you know.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I would rather Shiner have it before me personally because of, you know, being diabetic or anything. But I know what you mean, Shane. There might come a time where we have to have it because we were lucky enough to go to Germany. So if we still get the same opportunities, that might come hand in hand. But at the current point, I'm with you, Greenall, where I kind of much prefer the public who need it. Who might not have more of a chance of fighting it off and stuff like that. So it's not even like any doubts or anything like that. It's just more, I'd rather it roll out to those who need it more, like, you know. So keep the positivity rolling. I noticed Donna just said she's been learning Spanish in COVID, which is great. I think that's great. I'm loving hearing all the stories, and like I've been scrolling through the socials, and a lot of people have been walking more than they have, or they've noticed things around them, as in like nature parks, and they've been visiting the ocean, which they haven't done for. There's loads around us. It's just, you know, it's having the time normally, and I find it fascinating how a lot more people are finding the time to discover those things around them and keeping their mental health in the right direction. I think that's the most important thing. And Facebook, I've seen a lot of bad stuff this week to do with what you're on about, Shane, with the vaccine and stuff like that. And I just kind of wanted to get that across tonight of just keep positive, everybody. Do you know what I mean? Don't let the negativity, or everybody's going to have an opinion. It's the same as your favorite band or your favorite whatever, your favorite football team. You know, the boys support Liverpool. It's not their fault, but that's their favorite football team. Like, do you know what I mean? So what I'm saying is we all got to hold on to that positivity, like, you know?
Yeah, and that's a good point there. Annie Joyce has just put up, she's having a pop at me. No, just saying to protect, no, there was another one, to protect others, Shane. Yeah, I get that, Annie, completely. I would never want to have it myself and give it to someone, and then because of that, someone, you know, gets seriously ill. But I'm just saying that it's almost... I don't know. It is sticky territory. As soon as you start talking, you forget sometimes talking on you. You just, you know, saying what you're thinking and feeling, and then someone goes, "Boom! No, you're wrong." Hey,
it's all opinions, but it's all opinions.
It is about protecting others, but I don't know.
It's a great segment. I mean, that's why we do the whole Shine Minister thing. Shine has been following all of this for months. He is into it. He is like listening to Boris, or whether it be Drakeford and all of that. So that's the whole point of this segment, is to kind of, you know, sometimes I've been very ignorant and I've ignored it. So I listen to your fact, Shine, and then question you over it. But the vaccine one, it is one of those, Shane, where I think that's why I'm kind of over talking about it because it's I've just seen a lot of it. It's a wormhole at the moment. It's that I'm trying to think of a comparison, you know, when you bring something up, the Trump thing or the, you know what I mean? It's very sticky, the Conservatives versus Labour, you know, anything, certain things you're wary on bringing them up, especially on social media where we're in the public eye and stuff. But I genuinely think there's positivity at the end of the tunnel. I think all four of us agree on that.
Yeah.
And that's what anybody watching this show now, or whether you're listening to it in 10 years' time, there's always positivity down the end of the tunnel. So on that note,
and it's the unknown, isn't it? People are scared of the unknown.
I think that's it. I think once it's been out and it's been tested, and then there's no, you know, backlash or anything, everything's fine. I think everyone will relax about it. But it's exactly that. It's the not knowing.
Yeah. My right honourable friends, well done.
Well done, Shiner. Thank you very much. Brilliant. Perfect. Time to bring up massive thanks to our special guest tonight, Mr. Mark Andrews. Fabulous stories about his journey in wrestling and his band Junior. Like I said, they've got a massive announcement this Friday, guys. So if you head over to their socials and check out their website as well, they've got loads of merch. Times like this is where you support the music, the bands. And it don't matter what field you're in, everybody could do with a little bit of a bunk up at the moment. Also, if you can go over to our Spotify, we've got the brand new Crow Radio, as Dave said earlier. The new playlist has been uploaded. It's all a fighting theme, so there's some real corkers. Have you got a couple, Dave, off the top of your head?
The Fighter by us.
Awesome.
Rope by Foo Fighters.
Marilyn Manson fight song.
Perfect, boys. So yeah, there's loads of them on Crow Radio, plus the past weeks as well, where we've been doing themed weeks. So go and check out the playlist, even the individual playlists. If you're not watching on YouTube, you could subscribe to our YouTube channel, hit the notifications, like us on Facebook, and please share the love. We've been doing this for 38 weeks now. Your support has been incredible. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. Buying the merch. Lovely to see all the Christmas merch being sent out by our postman. It's been great seeing all the bobble hats and the Christmas jumpers and the T-shirts. The calendars are dropping as well, isn't it, Shane?
Yes, they should be here tomorrow.
Whoa.
So they should be out. And if you bought merch with the calendar, that's why you haven't had that merch, and they'll go out together. So yeah, we should get them out by the end of this week. So awesome.
So perfect, guys. So yeah, yet again, share this if you've got any friends who are wrestling fans who want to hear what Mark had to say. If you've never heard of Junior, go and check them out on Spotify, iTunes. Go and check them out on their website. They got some banging albums on there. And a massive thank you again to Mark Andrews for joining us tonight. And I'm really looking forward to part 2.
Ladies and gentlemen, one-liner, shiner.
So this one kind of, it kind of actually fits in what we were just talking about. So you can't go back and change the beginning. You can only start where you are and change the ending. I like it.
That's it. That's it.
I like it.
Love it, but James Goldsmith, go to bed. Thank you so much, Crow family. We will see you next week, 9 o'clock on Tuesday on CrowCast. Thank you so much. See you soon.